decay, marching proudly through the day. In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. We stand firm in our belief.
Hold tight.
Through the times clearer we can see. Crazy world spinning round.
Stay grounded.
In our hearts simple truth supreme. Whisper of freedom and liberty.
Rings true.
Our foundation strong and deep. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady path we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In the story we built for trusting,
Never doubt.
time flies but we won't bend. Communists talk loud and fast.
Stay solid.
Our quiet strength is our reply. So salute to change but pause.
Reflect.
In unity our dearest friend. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady path we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In shadows we find our light. Through chaos we stay upright. With courage, faith on our side.
Forever.
Standing firm, our guide. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady path we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow.
In our little town so serene, where the grass is green, the air so clean, we gather round the table every night. Joyful days, oh, was Siam, with values passed, with generations past, living life with love that surely lasts. As the city lights look bright, we hold to our roots tight, in our heart to sing fires, guided by the good old days. Sharing moments with friends always divine. Working hard for what we seek, respecting each word we speak, holding dear to our family ties underneath these nostalgic skies. As the city lights so bright got you tight, in our hearts the same goes by. Oh, dear, oh yeah. We sway with every change of time, but in our hearts old love traditions keep our hearts going wild. Love goes goodbye in our heart's simple ways. We got it by the good old days.
In the city lights so bright, ideals flash in the night. Opponents stand side by side. Cultures collide, nowhere to hide. Fists meet dreams in the street. History on repeat. Our world's in a spin. Let the future begin.
Birds are crawling like bugs to the night. Freedom's calling, gotta rise and fight. We'll stomp 'em out with all our might. Watch 'em scatter in fear and fright. Crushing commies beneath our shoes like tiny pests with nothing to lose. Crushing commies, our anthem strong. Stand united where we belong.
I'm glowing in the night, shining like a star in this atomic age, a brighter by far. Untouchable energy, it's a glowing affair. Ready and ready, I'll take you everywhere. I'm untouchable now, feel the power in the air. Radioactive rhythm, but sense without care. Electric and alive in this atomic embrace. Unstoppable now in this glowing space.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Culturama on this post-inauguration stream. It's going to be a really good one because we have a lot to cover, and it is such good news what has just occurred. I'm sure all of you are aware of the historical event that has taken place yesterday morning and afternoon, and the plethora of executive orders that have been passed through. And I'm going to be covering all of them with you today. So thank you so much for joining. And on Culturama, as you guys are already aware, this is a show where we try to reclaim the zeitgeist of traditional Americana back into the United States, away from the corruption and the indecency of postmodernism, DEI, critical theory, critical race theory, and all of that garbage that has imbued higher academic institutions and other various institutions in the United States. And on this show, we have conversations that are necessary and true, and we try to promote these values in our show, and hopefully that you can go along with them with your friends and your family and onwards. So thank you so much for joining today. Like I had mentioned, Trump has made a historic victory yesterday by being inaugurated for his second term, and it is quite amazing what has occurred. He has made promises, yes, but he has delivered, and we have seen that happen time and time again. Yesterday, he has released January 6 prisoners. He has revoked Title IX. He has declared there's the issue at our southern border a national emergency. He has revoked birthright citizenship as well. And so much more has been done. He is reclaiming American excellence as well by changing the names of Denali to Mount McKinley, once again in Alaska. He's changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And he has pulled us out of the WHO, and so much more that we're going to cover today. So all these promises were made, but Trump is going in this term with a ferocity and with a level of seriousness and expertise that he didn't have his first term. And so we have a lot to look forward to. Of course, a lot of things will be challenged in the courts, no doubt, and I have no doubt of that. Okay, we can expect that from our institutional decision makers, but people in DC are scared. And major bureaucrats are scared in the rest of the United States. Also, I forgot to mention, he is making he's essentially making these Zoom calls and all this, remote work at the federal level. He is revoking all of that. He's expecting now for state level bureaucrats to actually do their work and appear on work grounds. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. So he's also trying to reinstate traditional architecture again. I want to cover that as well. So there's a lot to cover, like I said, but I am so optimistic about what is going to happen in these next few months. Again, this is just day 2 today. Day 1 was yesterday, and already multiple executive orders and promises that he has made were kept. And so this is a big win for all conservatives in the United States. And I don't want to hear any doomers. Okay, I know everyone has their questions and their opinions on Trump and the Trump administration. I understand. And believe me, there will be plenty of time and room to question legitimacy of the Trump administration as we move forward. But right now, let's just count the wins while we have it, because we have a lot of them. And I want to thank everyone that has joined us today so far in the chat. I did see that the Rumble chat is fairly active, and we have a few viewers, so thank you, everyone. I also wanted to draw attention to this pin. I see that it's being blocked by the microphone, so I will move it to the other side of my jacket. But I have this I don't have a lot of Trump memorabilia, despite what many may assume. I have a Trump hat. I have a couple of those, but I do have this Trump pin. It's the vintage Trump Pence pin. Do you guys remember those? They were called too phallic, so they were taken off. They were taken off the market essentially pretty quickly back in 2016. And I found mine, so I figured I'd wear this. It is a piece of vintage memorabilia in the Trump universe, so I wanted to wear that for you guys today. Like I said, I don't have a lot of Trump memorabilia, but yeah, boo Pence JJ. I agree. First of all, I do want to say I do not like Pence myself either, but not a lot of Trump memorabilia in Danielle's closet, and this is a vintage token. I think is fairly good to wear here. So I wanted to, before I move forward, I did want to say hello to everyone that did manage to make it to the chat. I did see the first commenter, Barney Styles, made it, so thank you so much, Barney, for joining. I see Robbie Thurman in the chat. Hello, Robbie. Thank you for joining us. I see JJ. Mr. Pig, all the usuals here. Quest Fanning, it's good to see you again, Quest Fanning. Okay, and I think those are all the people that were in the chat. I thought TP was for Turning Point. Actually, Quest TPUSA is for Turning Point. Well, their usual acronym is TPUSA, and now it's TPA for TP Action. Turning Point doesn't usually advertise themselves as just TP, so... But when this pin came out, this is the original Trump Pence pin. And if you are unaware of the lore behind that, I do encourage you to Google it. It's a very interesting. It's a very interesting history. Now, just to give you a quick rundown, this was originally supposed to be the original logo for the Trump/Pence campaign in 2016. Right away, I don't know if it was people on the left, on the right, I don't remember, but various people complained about it because it looked... Let's just say it looked rather questionable. They said it was symbolic of something that people didn't really like. They said it was inappropriate. I thought, that was stretching it quite a bit at the time. At the time, I thought like, okay, these are just leftists and progressive making fun of the logo. It's no big deal, because I actually didn't mind this logo. But Trump took with it, and he canceled that immediately, and he changed the logo. So these are actually pretty rare to find now. At least that's what I'm aware of. And I still have it. So, because at that time I was working at my local GOP office, and we had a bunch of these just sent in to us, and I kept one for myself. So I'm glad I still have this. I don't know if they're worth anything right now, but like I said, it is a vintage piece of memorabilia in the Trump universe. So anyway, moving forward. So I did want to thank everyone for joining us today. It's great to see wonderful viewership on Rumble. We also have great viewership on Twitter as well. A couple of things you can do to help me out here, you guys, okay? Yes, it is a collectible quest. A couple things you can do to help me out. If you're short on money, I understand that the holidays have just happened. And listen, I'm low on money too. So if you cannot donate or send a Rumble rant, I understand. I cannot promise I will get to your chat, all right? One way for sure you can get me to read your chat or answer any of your questions is by sending a Rumble rant. And I am most active on Rumble, so please send it there. Don't send it on any other platform, unless you're donating to me by buying a coffee, which I'll talk about later. But that's one way you can get me to interact with you. However, if you want to support this stream in any way without necessarily spending anything, please like and share the stream on Twitter, because, we are trying to gain viewership on there as well. And that's another major platform that I get my most views on. So it would mean a lot to me if you share it on there as well, or you can just quote tweet it or retweet it or whatever you do on Twitter to do that. and it will go a long way in supporting the stream and supporting the viewership on there. So I want to thank you guys for that, and I want to thank you for providing all the Rumble Rants that you have already in the past. I know I have my usual donors, like I have JJ, Robbie Thurman, Barney Styles, Grizz Cheese. I haven't seen Grizz Cheese in the chat yet, so that's unfortunate. I hope he shows up. And I hope that Grizz Cheese shows up and a lot of Leo fans out there, because I have a new Leo meter for you guys. I want to show you this. Okay, let me see if I can actually get it on stream. Hold on a second. I have a new Leo meter for you guys, and I can't bring it on right now for some reason. Oh my gosh. All this prep work for what? For what? So I'm going to be after the commercial, I'll bring up the Leo meter. I did make a meter. I want to see if I can bring it on where if we get a certain amount of donations, I will bring Leo on stream. I know a lot of people like Leo. Okay, so I'm gonna set the donation limit to $50 today. So if you do get $50 in donations, I will bring Leo out. I don't know why it's the meter's not pulling up. OBS is such a ridiculous platform. I swear, using it is very difficult for me at least. But I'll probably get that on after the commercial break. So anyway, so if you do get $50 in donations today, we will bring out my dog. And for those that don't know who Leo is, he is my dog. He is a dysgenic dog. That means he is several generations inbred, and I like to bring him out in a thematic outfit of that day where I will wheel him out and present him to everyone that everyone can enjoy, and everyone has a big laugh about it, and he's pretty fun guy. So I know you got, already $5. Already $5 from Entropy Nomad. So good to see you, Entropy. Thank you. All right. Entropy Nomad, thank you so much for the $5. He writes, press the advantage. More scalps to be had. We have only began. Retribution is ours. Also, Leo. That's a very good start. Entropy, thank you so much. So we're a step closer to getting Leo out today. All right. Quest Fanning said he shared it to his 13.5K Twitter X followers. Thank you so much, Quest. I very much appreciate that. I do not have a sound of... I'm just going to send it anyway. Thank you so much, Quest, for sharing it. For 13,000 followers, very much appreciated. All right, so... Okay, guys, we have a lot to cover today, and what I want to do is talk about this next story. I'm not going to go to commercial break. I'm just going to talk about this next story here, okay? All right, let's see here. So, this last weekend, I don't know if you guys were... $10?! You guys will do anything for the dog. We got $10 from Robbie Thurman and he just wrote for Leo and heart emoji. Robbie, you guys would do anything for Leo, wouldn't you? Okay. We're already on a strong foot forward here to getting my dysgenic dog out. Thank you so much, you guys, for the donations. We'll see if we get that $50. When we get that $50, I'm definitely going to be bringing him out here. Hi, beautiful. Yes, we must see King Leo, wrote Freedom on YouTube. Thank you for joining us today, Freedom. I don't see a lot of YouTube comments, so it's really good to see you. Thank you so much. Anyway, before Robbie Thurman donated that very generous amount, I was about to get into the next piece of news here. In that, I don't know if you guys have been following what has been happening. Obviously, we had that potential TikTok ban. And I know that was a pretty big deal. A lot of leftists were on suicide watch that day. This is Leo's show now, Crown 9. Yes, it is Leo's show. Yes, Grizz Cheese. I have a Leo meter. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. Grizz Cheese, I do feel like I do owe you this explanation. I do have a Leo meter, and I had it like locked in this scene, and I'm trying to bring it out now, but it's not showing. Let me see if I can just... Oh, there we go. There's a Leo meter. Do you guys see that? There it is. This is a Leo meter. So the Leo meter is what I bring out when I say that we're trying to get a certain amount of donations to get my dog out. He said that he is open to coming out today on the show, but we need to make $50 in donations. So if we do make $50 today by the end of the stream, I will bring him out. Or if we make $50 earlier, I will bring him out as soon as we get that money in. So anyway, that is a Leo meter, just so you guys will see it. But I don't want to get too sidetracked by my dog because we do have a lot of news to cover. This is, of course, the post-inauguration stream, and that's what I'm going to be covering today. But before I get into the inauguration, I did want to talk about what happened this weekend, which I'm laboriously trying to get at. TikTok was almost banned, and it was reinstated by Trump's efforts, which is what the TikTok alert said. I'm sure you guys have followed that. As this was happening, I don't know if you guys were aware, but Curtis Yarvin, of all people, was platformed by the New York Times. And if you guys don't know who Curtis Yarvin is, I will just say a very controversial figure due to his writings. He is an American blogger, and him alongside another blogger, you could say, writer, Nick Land, have proposed these anti-egalitarian, anti-democratic ideas and values. And Curtis Yarvin has been writing online since, 2007, 2008, I believe. And he has been completely ostracized politically for being too unconventional in his views, questioning the integrity of our election systems, questioning the integrity and the application of democracy, for instance. And, people like Curtis Yarvin, like I said, has been culturally, institutionally, for the most part, and politically ostracized because we have this gospel of, this pro-democracy narrative, even though we don't actually live in a complete democracy. But institutional democracy has been so heavily promoted and idealized in American culture, in the American political institution, that I wouldn't have guessed even a year ago that someone like Curtis Yarvin would be platformed. But as of last week, we have seen major changes happening. Because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the Trump effect, and now we're bringing in all these other viewpoints. Maybe it does have to do with the fact that people have been saying that Curtis Yarvin has heavily influenced people like J.D. Vance, and his ideas has influenced J.D. Vance, and this is why he's being platformed. But I wanted to bring this out to you guys and mention this because this is a shift in the Overton window that we are witnessing in real time, and I wanted to bring attention to this. So let me just pull up this story here. And to give you an idea of Curtis Yarvin being, there we go. Hang on a second. There we go. This tweet behind me right here exemplifies how people loathe this individual. Okay, so I study authoritarian regimes for a living, says this Twitter account. I spend most of my time thinking about how Russia's dictatorships work, but one of my personal side projects involves looking at authoritarian theorists closer to home. Most prominent by far is Curtis Yarvin. This is the guy we're talking about here, okay? And for those that know who he is, drop in the chat if you know who Curtis Yarvin is and what you think of his ideas. I hope this isn't too esoteric for my viewers today, but this is important, and I did want to cover this before I get into the inauguration stuff here. This guy's loathed because he dared question the gospel of democracy and the idealization of democracy in the United States. I wanted to play this clip for you guys as we proceed forward. Because this guy, so he was interviewed by the New York Times. You can find the interview full length live. Well, not live, I'm sorry. You can find it full length on YouTube for free. But obviously the New York Times interviewer was a bit hostile at a few points, but I think he did a good job, all things considered. He did cut Curtis Yarvin off a little bit at a few times, but he did give him a platform, and that's what's important. And he's questioning Curtis Yarvin about what he sees himself, or what he sees himself in the legitimacy of the conservative movement in America, and why unpopular ideas or anti-institutional ideas like his own, or unorthodox ideas like his own, is actually gaining traction right now with Americans and potentially with younger people and the Zoomer generation right now in American history. So let's take a listen. I hope that this is loud enough.
So a one-dimensional view of history, I think, well, no, I think it's pretty cut and dry. It just is very fascinating to me that your ideas, which strike me as pretty extreme, there were fringe ideas to me that apparently are no longer on the fringe. And that's, I don't know, what do you think that says about conservatism today?
I think that American conservatism is in the long and very, very difficult grieving process of realizing that it has always been a fraud. And I think one of the especially dangers in American conservatism is that there's so much grift in it, and so much of it consumes so much energy and so much attention and produces so little. You are still a factor of 100 from being able to give the people who are voting for you and donating to you anything like what they imagine they're going to get from you.
And when you say it's a fraud, I take that to mean insofar as its conservatism is just...
The Washington Generals are never going to win the game. It just doesn't have the power to give anything that it promises.
Okay, so I wanted to highlight that part. He considers American conservatism a grift. And in some aspects it is, in some aspects it isn't. I don't fundamentally agree with that point, but I do think it's important to recognize, because for a long time, especially with the influence of major donors in certain, in a certain party and in certain organizations, I think has warped the way that conservatism can be effective in the United States and can be effective about some of the things that some of the ideas that we promote and some of the topics that we can actually talk about. And what Trump has done in the United States since 2016, it was almost a decade-long battle to do this, but we are now finally 10 years in seeing these major changes, especially with the upcoming generation of the Zoomer generation being more involved in politics, starting to vote, or have been voting for quite some time now, that there are major ideological shifts that are happening in the right wing that's creating the new right, and in American politics, in institutional positions of leadership, where I don't think the older generations are truly prepared for, because there will be a major whiplash that is happening. But this is necessary. And this was done in part thanks to Donald Trump's addition, or I suppose you could say thanks to Donald Trump's activism, or just taking up a necessary role in the conservative movement for the last 10 years. And this is why establishment types, rhinos, did not want him to succeed originally. Now they have no choice. He is a force of nature at this point politically. It's difficult to stop him. In fact, I would say it's impossible at this point. That's the power of populism. But they were trying to stop him for many years for this reason. Because big-time lobbyists, big-time donors, and those who have complete control over the governmental apparatus and the conservative apparatus do not want the people and do not want major ideological change from happening. And it's absolutely necessary. And this isn't necessarily even due to ideology, also in as much as it is due to the effectiveness of communication. We are seeing now younger generations get more involved in conservative politics and in all levels of politics. And now that, I'm sorry to say, but, boomers are checking out or they're dying off, they are releasing their grip on the establishment. They have no choice to. And we are seeing younger people take the ranks and actually change the conversation and making it more effective. For this reason, I wanted to bring up this tweet from the John Birch Society. And this just came out of nowhere, but it really was amazing. And I think it also brings to home what I'm saying here. Now, the John Birch Society has been around for quite some time. Some of you may not have even heard of them until now, or haven't heard of them for years, if some of you are a little older. But the John Birch Society has been stereotyped as like this older organization ran by older folks, and it's really ineffective in American politics today. It's outshined by organizations like Turning Point USA and so forth. And then they made out this tweet just a few days, or last week. Yes, hello, the John Birch Society is pleased to announce a new wave of upcoming content, highlights and material in the works. Refill your popcorn. You're going to love this next part. And they have this picture with this anime girl with Tucker Carlson. And this is truly incredible, you guys. Because again, if you know anything about the John Birch Society and their history, this tweet is kind of a big deal. And you can go back to their profile and see their other previous tweets here. Posting memes like this, which you wouldn't have seen. You wouldn't have seen with the John Birch Society before, but this is a big deal. Younger people are taking now positions within organizations like the John Birch Society, of all things, trying to reclaim and possess the American spirit and the conversation and the discourse happening in American conservatism and the new right and the forming new right, and are starting new organizations, new nonprofits, and bringing new life into older ones, which is just what we need. And we have major conglomerations of, power holders in the conservative movement organizations like Turning Point USA, that are just massive, and they do good work, but we also need variety. And so it's good to see other organizations being revamped and brought back to life, like the John Birch Society and others. Regardless of what you think of them, it is necessary. Anyways, I've been going on for quite some time now, so I want to check in on the chat here and bring up my next topics. Okay. Occupy the John Birch Society. Indeed. Okay, so I'm getting distracted. I'm getting lost in the sauce, you guys. I am sorry. I'm just reading the chat here. I am going to go to commercial break, and I'll be right back. It's so good to see all these viewers today on Rumble and on X as well. And I have some viewership on YouTube. That's good to see. I don't usually have viewership on YouTube or Twitch. So thank you guys so much for joining. Again, you see the Unleash the Beast meter on which side am I pointing to? This side right here. Yeah. So I guess to my left, this side, you see the meter. Please, once we get to $50 in donations, I will be unleashing the beast. I'm not going to use that sound effect for very. I'm only going to play that sound effect when we actually reach the limit here. So send in your Rumble rants. We have a lot to cover. I have a lot to cover with you, considering the inauguration. And hold on a second. Okay, I'll be right back. So stay tuned, everyone, and I will be pulling up my next few stories. Okay.
Crazy world spinning round.
Stay grounded.
In our hearts, simple truths agree. Whisper of freedom and liberty.
Rings true.
Our foundation strong and deep. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In the story we built for trust in you,
No doubt.
time flies but we won't bend. Communists talk loud and fast.
Stay solid.
Our quiet strength is our reply. So salute to change, but pause.
Reflect.
In unity, our dearest friend. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In shadows we find our light. Through chaos we stay upright.
Stay
With courage, faith on our side.
forever.
Standing firm, our guide. Holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow.
Well, here comes Danny Yellow like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty. Okay, whoops. I had my meter out there. Sorry, so sorry for the long wait, you guys. I had a little technical issues here, but I am back. I am back. Let me change the scene here. There we go. Okay, so like I said, this is a post-inauguration stream, so we'll be covering the inauguration, and over 40 minutes in. Sorry, guys, but like I said, we did have a lot to cover as far as the other developments have occurred. But let me pull up these next few stories here for you guys so we can cover the inauguration. Now, like I said, history has been made, and there is no going back from here. I do believe that a lot of leftists are completely demoralized. I heard that there was very little protests in D.C. as this inauguration was going on, and I think that they just didn't show up. They're completely dead inside, and I wouldn't be surprised if legitimately there could be some leftists out there that are on suicide watch, and that's of course something that I don't want to celebrate, but you understand that these people, they are just mentally not in the right place. They cannot necessarily they do not handle these developments very well because they are so mentally and emotionally fragile. Yes, of course, but also they know deep down inside what's going to happen to them, and the policies that they have been enacting and enforcing upon us for at least within the last 4 years. But even before, with the initiation and the promulgation of things like DEI policies, as well as inundating our country with illegals and inundating our job market and creating the issue of job displacement that we have been suffering under for years. This was all due to their policies and their ideas and their values. And now that we have someone in office that won't put up with that, they can't handle that. And they know they're in trouble. So, but I did want to go over a few highlights from yesterday's inauguration. First of all, DC residents being terrorized, apparently. Not really, but you do see videos like this where people are just absolutely celebrating and crazy over what's been happening here about Trump. I mean, these people, yes, you could say they're a little bit too in love with Trump, but just it's also so fun to see. Like, look at this truck right here behind me. I mean,
this is the worst. This is the worst. This is the worst.
Mm-hmm. This is the worst. Someone's talking in the background.
Life could be worse.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but absolutely really. Crazy. Please pray for the residents of DC, as Richard Banania has been saying here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
life could
now,
be worse.
And of course, I do have to talk about this. You already see it playing behind me. And, you know, we can't go on with this stream without mentioning it. It is an elephant in the room, so I will be acknowledging it. Do I want to acknowledge it? No, I do not. But we have to acknowledge it. So Elon Musk throws his heart out to the crowd, apparently, and left-wingers are, this is what this tweet is saying, left-wingers are interpreting it as a specific salute, you could say. People call it the Roman salute. Listen. Hold on, here we go.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Yeah, so listen.
And I just want to say thank you.
I'm not going to say one way or the other what this was. I do remember seeing it on my phone and my jaw dropping because it does look like a certain gesture, okay? Is it a certain gesture? I don't know. I'm not going to speak on Elon's behalf. Look, the guy does have autism. It's been confirmed, and it's a pretty well-known fact. It could just very well be that he was, you know, just overly excited, overly stimulated. Like, look, I get it. Like, people get overly stimulated sometimes, and they just do things. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit here, but was it strategic? Was it not strategic? We cannot live in the mind of Elon, and the mind of Elon is a very
thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Interesting and unexplored terrain, if we're going to be honest here. Now, whether or not he was throwing his heart out as a gesture or he was doing a Roman, regardless, it's hilarious and it's still funny. And I think it should be treated as such. I did see some people, some fellow friends of mine on social media, absolutely livid about what's happened with this gesture. And out of all the entire inauguration proceedings, what has occurred, they were only talking about this particular gesture on Elon's part. And look, I can say one thing. That the Trump family is not happy with Elon. Of course, we have heard rumors that they're getting kind of sick of him and he's being overly, he's being very excitable. But so no doubt, I don't think this is reflective of the Trump admin or the Trump family or Donald Trump himself. I think that the Trump family, they're sort of like tolerating Elon as best they can here. But you have to admit, it is funny, and it does get people watching. Look at this video of Barron with Elon in the background. I said it's like a dog and a cat having to share the same room. For those that are unaware, the cat would be Barron in this situation. But now, whether or not you think this is a Roman or not, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Write in the chat, what do you think it was? Do you think he was just throwing his heart out? Do you think it really is a Roman and he's doing this to, I suppose, spark controversy? I mean, even if it was a Roman, what would the strategy be? I don't know. But I do want to also draw attention to the fact that he was acting a certain way yesterday. I mean, Elon is very excited. He does get fairly excited. And when he gets excited, he does random things. Do you guys remember him jumping on stage with Trump a little while ago when Trump was speaking? You know, he stims out a little bit. And look, that's okay. The Trump admin is open to everyone. This is their DEI hire, if you could posit it in that way. Here's a speech he's doing. He's very, very excited, right? Man, look how happy he is. You have to admit, I mean, that excitement and that level of happiness is a little intoxicating. So it is fun to watch.
This is what victory feels like. Yeah!
Slams to desk.
And this was no ordinary victory. This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay.
Very well put.
You know, there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, you know,
How many
important, some are not. But
bet
this
that
one,
he's just making this? He's making this up as he goes. That sounds like something someone would say is making up.
this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you
It does matter.
for making it happen. Thank you.
So there he does. So I don't know if you guys caught that, but they caught the first Roman, or I don't know what else the gesture would be called, throwing your heart out. They cut the first one, but they left the second one. They cut out the first one and this one. They cut out this one.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Anyway, I was watching the live stream yesterday, and I was like looking intensely for this part, and I couldn't find it. And it turned out they cut obviously they cut it out. They don't want too much controversy, but it's out there. You can't go back. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Do you think that was a Roman, or do you think that he really was throwing his heart out? Barney Styles writes, Barrett and Elon together look like the opposite sides of the autistic coin. Yes, true. He's our country's top autist. Quest Fanning. My granddaughter had a panic attack about that. Some of her LG HD TV friends are filling their head with I don't know if I can say bullshit. I'll just say it. LGBT LGHD TV stand for. He's just joking, Quest. He's making fun of the LGBTQIA plus bullshit. Yeah, no, absolutely, Robbie. Like I said, I had leftist friends that were like, they were losing their minds over it. They were having legitimate panic attack. Well, I don't know if it's legitimate, but they were having supposed panic attacks over it, and completely frozen and inept to do anything about it. And it is really funny to think about a leftist just like frozen and watching the television screen, or I suppose your computer screen at this point, is completely like fixated on what's happening, and there's nothing you can do about it, or it feels like there's nothing you can do about it. And listen, this is how us conservatives were feeling for the last 4 years. Okay? It is all very well deserved on their part. A lot of people lost their businesses and their livelihoods during COVID. So I have no remorse, or I've taken no issue with the thought of them, essentially losing their minds over this, because they deserve every drop of it. And I will stand by that. Except your granddaughter, Robbie Thurman. I'm sorry that if she did have a panic attack, I don't want your granddaughter to be suffering. But I am talking about with the general population of leftists. I'm frankly sick of it. They can easily dish it out, but they can never take it. Okay, anyway. So I did want to cover Donald Trump's agenda moving forward. This is going to be a little bit more serious now. But like I had mentioned earlier, he did make promises, and he made promises all throughout his campaign. And people like me and others were frankly concerned that he would have kept those promises. His first term, you could say that maybe he wasn't the most successful of all presidents. I don't think he was horrible, but I think there could be some things done. But Donald Trump did everything in his power to go in strong, and he is sending a message. He's just sending a message to his supporters, yes, but he's also sending a message to his opposition that he has furnished himself with people that he truly can trust. For the most part, I think he is going to be far more strategic this time around. He has been through the fire, and he has perfected his performance and himself when it comes to political decision making. Will he be perfect? Probably not. Everyone's going to have a mess up here and there, of course. But at least what he has done on just day one, and now in day two, is incredible. And, he could have just done the routine go through all the process of the inauguration, sign a couple executive orders, and call it a day, right? But he didn't. He made sure that he fulfilled what he said he's going to fulfill. And this is why I want to go forward with this this next piece here to go over his agenda policies so we can get a better idea. So this is on the whitehouse.gov website. It is President Trump's America First priorities. Okay. Posted yesterday. Let's just read through all of this to get a general sense. It's fairly short. It just summarizes what he went in intending to change. So for those of you that aren't exactly following to every detail of what Trump has proposed, this is what he has proposed. So he first wants to make America safe again. And by doing that, he will take a bold action to secure our border and protect American communities. He has declared what's happening at the southern border a national emergency, as it should be done. So this includes ending Biden's catch and release program, reinstating Remain in Mexico, building the wall, and ending asylum for all illegal border crossers. He is cracking down on criminal sanctuaries and enhancing vetting and screening of all aliens. Thank God. President Trump's deportation operation will address the record border crossings of criminal aliens under prior administration. The president is suspending refugee resettlement after communities were forced to house large and unsustainable populations of migrants, straining community safety and resources. Nice. The armed forces, including the National Guard, will engage in border security. Thank goodness they're doing their jobs. We're not wasting money there. President Trump will begin the process of designating cartels, including the dangerous Tren de Aragua, as foreign terrorist organizations. Why did it take this long to do that? Thank goodness. That's very loud. My apologies. But yes, thank God that we're actually designating these as terrorist organizations now. The Department of Justice will seek a death penalty as the appropriate punishment for heinous crimes against humanity, including those who will kill law enforcement officers and illegal migrants who maim and murder Americans. I do want more clarification on what they mean by maim. I know what it means in common vernacular. I wonder if they're suggesting that you don't necessarily have to kill someone to be held up to the death penalty. But regardless, these are not American citizens conducting these crimes. But at the very least, I am glad that he is imposing the death penalty again. And he has done that in his executive order. Serious is that he is trying to reinstate the death penalty. And that's really... I know that there's difference of opinion as far as the death penalty is concerned, but at least if it comes to this situation, I am actually happy to see it. I am happy to see the death penalty used against people who conduct heinous crimes as illegal immigrants, actually. Okay, next agenda, or part of the agenda, I suppose. Make America affordable again and energy dominant. The President will unleash American energy by ending Biden's policies of climate extremism, streamlining, permitting, and reviewing for rescission of all regulations that impose undue burdens on energy production, including mining and processing of non-fuel minerals. Finally, President Trump's energy actions empower consumer choices in vehicles, shower heads, toilets, washing machines, light bulbs, and dishwashers. Fine. President Trump will declare an energy emergency and use all necessary resources to build critical infrastructure. President Trump's energy policies will end leasing to massive wind farms that degrade the natural landscapes and fail to serve American energy consumers. Awesome. He will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. Wow. He did say that he would do that, and in fact, he did. All agencies will take emergency measures to reduce the cost of living. Okay, President Trump will announce America First trade policy. Beautiful. America will no longer be beholden to foreign organizations for our national tax policy, which punishes American businesses. Okay, next step, drain the swamp. Now, this is where it starts to get really good. The president will usher a golden age for America by reforming and improving the government bureaucracy to work for the American people. He will freeze bureaucrat hiring, except in essential areas, to end the onslaught of useless and overpaid DEI activists buried into the federal workforce. They are acknowledging that we have this virus infecting major parts of the American governmental institution. And that has been poisoning us for quite some time now. There's a ton of money wasted on it, especially used within these DEI programs, training programs as well, especially, which is just such an utter waste of money and time for everyone. I mean, it's a major waste of time for employees. It's a major waste of money as well for these organizations and just to implement. And thank goodness that we are recognizing it federally, that this is a poison pill that has been affecting Americans for quite some time now. And they're acknowledging that they have been subversively acting against the interests of the American people and are essentially buried in the federal workforce. He will pause burdensome and radical regulations not yet in effect that Biden has announced. Okay. President Trump is announcing an unprecedented slate of executive orders for rescission. Okay, that's kind of general. President Trump is planning for improved accountability in government and bureaucrats. So part of the draining the swamp does include a certain level of transparency that we simply have not been seeing for a number of years now. The American people deserve the highest quality service from people who love our country. We do need patriots in these decision-making positions. The president will also return federal workers to work, like I said, as only 6% of employees are currently working in person. President Trump is taking swift action to end the weaponization of government against political rivals and ordering of all documented retention as required by law. The State Department will have an America First foreign policy. Okay, last section. This one's interesting. It is pretty brief, but there's only 2 points here. It's kind of comical how there's only 2. I think there could be more, but let's read these. The president will establish a male and female as biological reality and protect women from radical gender ideology. So, what Trump has talked about and what his administration has showed for quite some time now, with Vance running alongside him, is that they do want to protect women again in this country. And women have been, frankly, under attack institutionally for quite some time now. And with the imposition of the transgender cult, essentially is what it is, a lot of women are put into very vexing and conflictual positions where they have to contend with grown men in their spaces. And, you know, this is why people like Riley Gaines have gained so much popularity. But with the with him revoking Title IX and federally acknowledging that there are only biological sex, first of all, second of all, and that there's only 2 of those, I think is really going to go a long way in reestablishing, like this says, a traditional American values. And the whole point of this show as well is reclaiming the traditional Americana in the present American zeitgeist. So, also, last point, American landmarks will be named to appropriately honor our nation's history. Like I said, with changing Mount Denali, or it's just called Denali in Alaska, to Mount McKinley, after former President McKinley, basically bring back its original name. Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which at first may sound a little comical. And I will admit, I did find it a bit comical initially. You know, because you live your entire life referring it to the Gulf of Mexico. But it did get me thinking that, you know, even though it's kind of out there, some may say it looks classless. Sure, you could say that. But you have to understand Trump's strategy. He is a major power player. He loves this stuff. And this is more to do with, not so much to do with the name itself, you know, or even positioning America to look great. It's more of a power play on his part to show globalists and internationalists who are essentially running the show internationally that he is taking this administration and this term seriously. And regardless of what will happen with that executive order, it really is interesting to see that come into fruition and actually starting the conversation for us peons here in America that why not have it be called the Gulf of America? Is that something we can even do? Why, yes, it is. It can. And you can promote the concept of American exceptionalism and American greatness and American superiority in the international system. Actually, you can do that. It's okay to do. I have this list of executive orders by President Trump. And here's the list, and it has links. I figured we can maybe go through them. We won't go through them one by one because there are so many, but I did want to look at a few key ones specifically because this agenda just summarizes. It's just a basic and general summary, but I did want to go over them specifically with you guys. So, like I said, restating the name to Mount McKinley in Alaska. McKinley was a really great guy. I'm glad they're doing that. Renaming the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We've read that. Ending diversity, inclusion, and equity hiring in the federal government. Thank God. Okay, we have, let's see here. What else do we have here? Yeah, I did mention granting pardons for the January 6th prisoners, and thank goodness for that. That's I know just a couple personally, and we have all heard the stories of how it completely ruined their lives. A few people have taken their lives under this, and the American government does have blood on its hands. And it's really good to see that Trump did make that promise, and he has fulfilled it by pardoning the January 6th prisoners. Reevaluating United States foreign aid, declaring a national energy emergency, securing the United States borders. Let's see, what else do we have here? Realignment of the U.S. refugee admissions program. So, what's another good one we have here? Delaying TikTok ban.
What happened to connection?
Oh, sorry for the ads, you guys. Oh, and I did want to also bring withdrawing for the World Health Organization is a big one as well. Again, big power play. Yes, we were supposed to do that for quite some time now, and it would be healthier for American nationalists or American nationals in general to not be involved in these and embedded in these networks. But I do think this also has a lot to do with just positioning himself and securing himself as a major player in the international system. And in a way, this is partially dangerous on Trump's part. But as we know, he is willing to take a bullet for us. So this is really exciting. Defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. This is truly exciting, you guys. I also wanted to bring attention to the fact that, especially as far as our border is concerned, and the problem of illegal immigrants essentially making our country derelict, they will be churning out propaganda to make you feel bad. And what did I say on day one? I've seen a number of these videos floating around of these illegal immigrants basically crying on the ground here, like this one right here. So she can't break the law and enter our country legally, so she's crying. And you know what? That really sucks. And I do feel sorry for these people. But you know what? No more of this. We can't have this anymore. It is making our nation absolutely derelict. And like I said in the last stream, there has been major shifts in the job market that is making Americans truly suffer and struggle. We can't have this anymore. American nationalists, heritage Americans, patriots, people that actually love this country, follow the law, go to school here, make a living here, have families here, cannot make a living. They cannot survive, and they cannot deal with the pressures of illegal immigration any longer. And so even though it's unfortunate and it really is uncomfortable to view this, especially on an individual basis, we do have to make collective decisions at times. And this is one of those collective decisions that will go a long way and just reinstating the sovereignty of our country once again. So please, when you do frequent social media apps, places like Twitter, and you see videos like this, they're just designed to do one thing. They're designed to make you incompetent in defending your country. And they're designed to cuck you out and have you cuck out your country for them and see your country suffer for another 4 years, 8 years, 20 years. They don't care about you and they don't care about your country. All right, I'm going to check the chat again. I need to get this meter off my page. And Ron Helton, number 1, thank you for your comment. Merit hiring only. So Trump's list of executive orders is not going to solve all problems entirely, and it will be challenged in courts. We can expect that to happen. But it is a step forward in the right direction in reestablishing meritocracy. We will never have true meritocracy in this country. As hard as we try, I don't think it's possible. But the best that we can do, even just as a human species, is to move forward in that direction towards meritocracy. And what we will come to find out is that true meritocracy will not be happen. Natural hierarchies do exist, and that's okay. But we should not impose policies that directly try to overturn that natural reality. Because what meritocracy is meant to do is to level the playing field, and so that those who are naturally superior will be superior, and that is okay. That is okay. But we don't have to impose policies that will make people superior over the others artificially, or to somehow realign these natural differences. There's nothing wrong with having natural differences, and as a people, as a nation, we should come to accept that. But a meritocracy is a beautiful system if we can actually uphold that. And what our policymakers have done for quite a number of years now is try to erase that reality from existence, and it has done nothing but hurt us. And even at times, if the intention is good, you know what they say. I mean, what's the phrase that people like to say so often is that the pathway to hell is paved in good intentions. And that's essentially is where we're going, a very smooth pathway to hell, because a lot of these programs and these policies that were put in place to impose a complete erasure of biological, of natural realities is decimating our country, and it is making it impossible for Americans to flourish. And that's really the interesting part of it, is that you may think that natural hierarchies and so in these, social hierarchies even that come from that will make some people suffer under this supposed regime system, is what leftists like to call it. And in a way, I might pose some uncomfortable situations, but what will it do in the long run, actually? And it's not intuitive, so I understand people that get confused by this, but it will, in the long run, make things better for everyone involved. And leftists don't realize that. Or maybe they do, and they're just acting in bad faith. That could be the point as well. So, but I'm going off in a tangent. Anyway, do you guys see the meter on my side here with the dog right here? Am I pointing to? No, this one right here. You guys see this meter? Do you want to see this dog dressed up? Donate to the stream right now. Hold on a second. I don't want to make it too loud. I don't want to make it too loud. Donate to the stream and you will have a chance to see my dysgenic dog. I set the limit to $50, and so if we get $50 in donations, I will bring him out as soon as I get those $50. So I'm just reminding you guys, so far I see 15. So we are getting closer to it, but it's got to take $50, you guys. It's got to take $50. And also, if you do want to support the stream and you can't donate, share this stream on Twitter as well. We are streaming there every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you quote tweet it or if you retweet it and like the stream, it also goes a long way in supporting us. Otherwise, send a Rumble rant. Okay. I am getting a little sidetracked here by the chat. I do like to periodically check in on what you guys are talking about. Sometimes you guys will have debates as well, and I do appreciate reading them. And I love interacting with my viewers, you know. And I do my best to respond to you guys, even if you personally DM me. And I'm sorry if I'm bad at responding quickly. I have ADHD. Okay, I can't always get to your DMs right away, but I will do my best. If you guys make an effort to personally contact me, I will do my best in responding. But it is always good to see supporters come in the chat, and it really is uplifting, and it means that this show is doing something, even if it's a little bit. It is exciting to see. I did want to cover a little bit of what Trump was talking about in his inaugural speech. Hold on a second. I won't watch all of this with you guys, but I will watch, I suppose, like the first 5 minutes. So let's take a listen. And let's really absorb the content of what he says here, because this is setting the stage of America for the next 4 years.
Justice Roberts, justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now.
I love that. That invokes so many images in one's mind. You know, it invokes images of history, the dawning of humanity, of various civilizations, and even some great religious mythos. And it really makes you wonder what he exactly means by that. Of course, we know he means a successful period in American history, but it almost has this mythical tone to it, and it's interesting.
From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free.
Oh, he's serious here. And he has seen a lot in these last 10 years, especially just these last few months. And people have been coming out and saying that he was low energy here. I don't think he's low energy. I think he's serious. And like I've said the last few streams, I think that Trump is coming into this administration very serious about actually making changes. His first term, you know, I did think he had the right intentions, but I don't think he exactly understood what it took to initiate some of the policies that he was proposing. And people said that he was full of hot air. I don't think that's what it was. I think that in some parts he was inept. He didn't exactly understand what was happening. He didn't exactly understand who from good actors and who the bad actors were, who the good actors were. He didn't know how to separate those two groups. And we were also, as a nation and as conservatives, undergoing a tumultuous period in this, the split of the Republican Party, in identifying key populists from establishmentarian types, from various other branches of the conservative movement as well. And so not only was he undergoing a tumultuous time period, but so was America. And you don't know what else was happening behind the scenes as far as governmental actors are concerned. Regardless of all of that, this is a different time. He knows who his friends are, and he knows who his enemies are. And some of his enemies, he is intimately aware, are those that are working alongside him at times. And so he is furnishing his cabinet and his administration with people whom he can trust and some others that he can simply work with. But he has a strategy, and I think he's really serious about it. And so this isn't a question of him being low energy or not wanting to do this. On contrary of that, I think him signing as many executive orders as he did indicates very strongly that he takes this seriously and he wants to make these changes happen.
America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before.
Exceptional. That's right.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly.
As well as California, Southern California. Gavin Newsom and the Democrats of California were more interested in funding with over $50 million to de-Trumpify the state, to fight deportations that will be occurring. And they put money towards that effort rather than the effort of helping Californians withstand these fires. And the response to the fires were just incredibly inept. And instead, the Democrats, as this was occurring, mind you, and you can go back and look this up, as this was occurring, the Democrats did put forward $50 million in what they called de-Trumpifying the state. And it was just a complete slap in the face of Californian locals. And that really shows where their priorities are.
And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn.
Yeah.
From weeks ago, without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer.
No. That's
interesting. We can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it.
Is he falling asleep here?
Going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world.
Vivek sitting in the back,
And we have
which we will be talking about. Don't worry, Vivek, you'll get your part here.
an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to
I'm really
them.
glad he's acknowledging this.
All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
It is unfortunate how a lot of people that did travel to DC had to watch. First of all, it was moved indoors, as some of you may know. And where was that part? A lot of people that came to DC had to watch it on TV because they did move it inside, and not everyone obviously could see it in person inside. Yeah, a lot of people had to watch it on television, including the inauguration process. But
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over.
Thank goodness. Anyway, I'm just going to play that much because it is over 30 minutes of a speech, and I don't want to... That's just a long time. I don't want to watch all of it, unless you guys want to, but I think we can go on to the next few stories here. Okay, let me go to the other scene because I don't want this meter up the whole time. Here we go. Okay. All right. So we have a lot more to cover. And like I had said, I saw Vivek sitting there, and I did want to cover Vivek Ramaswamy's position with DOGE right now, the Department of Government Efficiency, and as well as many other items. So I will be right back. I will play another commercial break, but I'm going to be pulling up those stories for you guys. And like I said, if we get enough donations in, I will be bringing in Leo. And yes, Quest Fanning, the UFO is back. I do like a few animations here. I hope it's not too distracting for you guys. I do like a lot of things playing in the background as I'm talking. But let me find a commercial. Okay. But I will be right back. I'm going to be pulling up the next few items. So just stay tuned, and you guys don't want to miss this next part.
Held high, marching forward through the night. Promises of old will keep as the donkeys start to weep. Stars and stripes forever sway. In the land of the brave we stay. We've got the power now in the heart of every town. We've got the power now. The Reds are going down.
the flagpole planted firm.
Golden dreams that won't decay,
Marching proudly through the day.
In the eagle's shadow wide, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
Well, here comes Danny Yellow like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty Lover.
Okay, we are back. It's wonderful to see even more faces in the chat. I saw Mr. Labrisi on YouTube. I saw Rowhouse as well. Thank you guys for joining us. It's very good to see you and all the other usuals. So these next few stories, like I said, I wanted to talk about Vivek and his role in DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency, what the future of the Department of Government Efficiency looks like. But before I get to those stories, I did want to mention something a little different. I know that you guys have been noticing that I am drinking out of my Culturama mug. You know what's coming. I'm going to be shelling out my merchandise here. So, but it's not the mug that I am grifting right now. It is actually the coffee inside of it. So I wanted to show you a little something here before I proceed with this next story. So bear with me. Give me 1 second. I put my coffee mug down a couple days ago on the floor, and it turns out that Leo got a little swig of it. See, and even it's so good. The coffee is so good, even a dog will drink it. Don't worry, guys, that's not actually coffee he's drinking. I would never give my dog coffee, but I hate to dispel the illusion here. Please never give your Chihuahua coffee. However, for advertising purposes, I will say that every coffee bag is Leo approved. And if you're wondering what coffee is this crazy woman talking about, because I have been tweeting about coffee and posting about coffee for quite some time now, I'm talking about this coffee, the Culturama Blonde Atomic I call it the Blonde Atomic Coffee. On the website, it's called the Atomic Blonde Coffee. Regardless, here's the bag, and that's not exactly me on it, but it you could say it is a version of me in my 1950s dress. And this Blonde Atomic Coffee will keep you up for hours, and I do highly recommend it. And if there's a way that you want to support the show but also get something tangible out of it, I do implore you to go visit the ap4libertyshop.com, and you can type in the search bar Culturama or Culturama Collection, and one of the products that will come up is the Culturama Atomic Blonde Coffee. And you can make a one-time purchase, or you could be a consistent subscriber to support the show. And each time, whether it be every month, every 2 more months, or every couple weeks, you will get a new bag of Atomic Blonde coffee. And if you're someone that goes through coffee like water, like I do, I would recommend one of these subscriptions here. So I highly recommend that you go. Again, it's the ap4libertyshop.com, and you can look up the Culturama collection. And also, when you do visit the website, you have a chance to win a discount by clicking this pop-up right here, and you can spin to win to get up to 28% off of your next purchase. So again, like I will reiterate, every bag of coffee is Leo approved. Every bag of coffee is Leo
Monster kill
approved. So, yes. Anyway. The doggo needs a new liver, writes Entropy Nomad. Indeed, Entropy. Indeed, he does. Oh, and also, I did want to say that if we get $50 in donations in this stream, I will be bringing Leo out dressed in a special outfit. Hopefully that will go with the theme of today's episode. So I have the meter right here, as you guys can see. It's the Unleash the Beast meter stream meter. So if we get up to $50, we will hit this red point at the top of this meter here, and I will be bringing Leo out for you guys. So that is something else to keep in mind as we proceed further with this stream. Okay. Now I will continue with the rest of the stories that I promised you guys. Brandon, you're asking a very interesting question. Doge is pronounced Doge as in G, not Doge as in J, in the J sound. Do I have to change my ways? Brandon, I'm sorry to say, I think you were wrong. I've only ever heard people say Doge with the J sound. So I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be wrong. Ron Helton wrote a tutu. I'm assuming you're asking if Leo will be wearing a tutu. He very well could be. I have a whole closet for him, so I have a lot of clothes for him. And Row House, go ahead and think of that question. And if you for sure want me to see a Row House, I do recommend sending a Rumble rant, because I will be off the chat screen here in this next story. So that way I will for sure see your question. And also we will get a step closer in bringing Leo out. Okay, and since it is Tuesday today, guys, I can stay a little longer. On Thursdays, I like to leave on time because we do have the Liberty Tonight show. But on Tuesdays, I can stream a little longer, and I am flirting with the idea of streaming more in the week. If you guys will be available, I don't want to stream to nothing. So if you guys are available, what day of the week would work for you? I'm thinking Saturdays, but let me know what other day of the week works for you guys so I can stream other than Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. Here we go. Moving on with the story here. So, even though it's not an official federal agency, DOGE was created by Trump to promote governmental efficiency and, most importantly, evaluating the spending that goes into certain federal organizations and exactly how effectively it is being spent. And we all are going full steam ahead into this new administration in promoting the efforts of DOGE. And we have seen already Elon Musk post about it, saying that DOGE will greatly improve governmental efficiency, saving your tax dollars and ending rampart inflation, which we have been suffering under for quite some time. And hopefully it will bring us a step closer in having more affordable groceries as we proceed forward. Because it does have a massive effect on inflation. And he has quote tweeted this guy saying that DOGE is kicking off right out the gate. It is set up to deploy SWAT teams to help government agencies get more efficient and to modernize their operations. Thank goodness. You know, and here, I'll read this off to you guys so you can get a better idea. In consultation with the USDS, each agency head shall establish within the respective agencies a DOGE team of at least 4 employees, which may include special government employees hired or assigned within 30 days of the date of this order. Agency heads shall select the DOGE team members in consultation with the USDS administrator. Each DOGE team will typically include 1 DOGE team lead, 1 engineer, 1 human resource specialist, and 1 attorney. Agency heads shall ensure that DOGE team leads coordinate their work with USDS and advise their respective agency heads with implementing President DOGE's agenda. And they are also set in modernizing federal technology and software to maximize efficiency and productivity, which is actually surprisingly very much needed in the United States. The USDS administrators shall commence as software modernization initiative to improve the quality and efficiency of government's wide software network infrastructure and information technology, or IT systems. So, like I said, right off the gate, we're going to see major improvements, and regardless of what you think of DOGE, you know, it will be headed by Elon Musk, and it was supposed to be co-chaired, or I suppose co-headed with Vivek Ramaswamy, but as we have come to see, that may not actually be the case moving forward. But here is Donald Trump signing it, making DOGE official.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as DOGE.
It is creating, and if you guys didn't hear, this executive order is for creating and implementing DOGE. I can't talk today as usual. So here he is making it official for everyone, manifesting it into existence.
No, he's getting an office for about 20 people that we're hiring to make sure that these get implemented. We have a problem in this country. You sign an executive order, it doesn't get done for 6 months. As an example, when we allowed the J6 hostages to go out, it might not be approved under the old days for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months. You know, they had a good ruling from the Supreme Court, and it's like nothing happened. That ruling was 6 months ago, you know that. And it was like they didn't have a ruling. Wow. They've been treated very unfair. The judges have been absolutely brutal. The prosecutors have been brutal. Nobody's ever treated people in this country like that.
Mr. President,
Sign the
are you
paper,
clearing the
Trump.
sentences of anyone who assaulted a police officer on January 6th?
Well, we're looking at two
There he is
police
signing out the
officers,
marker.
actually, that Washington police officers who went after an illegal, and things happened, and they ended up putting them in jail. They got 5-year jail sentences. You know the case. And we're looking at that in order to give them we got to give them a break.
You got to give him a break, exactly. So yeah, manifesting into existence, it is official. Doge is here. Elon Musk will be staying. And in other news, we are fairly aware that Vivek Ramaswamy was set to co-head Doge, and it appears that's not going to be happening. A few days ago, he has announced his run for Ohio governor years in advance. And a lot of people are questioning how he could do both positions. Well, run a race and do this position. And it turns out that he actually can't. And so he has effectively stepped aside from the project, and he will not be a part of Doge anymore. There have been, just in the last couple days now, I mean, a lot of news agencies are coming, or press releases or news agencies are coming out with the stories saying that he's leaving. Others have come out and said that this is fake. It's not true. He's actually staying. And we have been punting back and forth whether this is real. But Vivek has put these rumors to rest. He is in fact leaving. And this is leaving the question up to people about whether or not he's actually gracefully stepping aside to really hone in on this Ohio governorship, or if he's being pushed out. And for those of you that are wondering, why would the Trump admin push him out? Well, I have a reminder here for you, and it's this tweet. And I don't know if this tweet is still up, but I will get to that in a second. Let me read this out for you guys. This is the statement made by Vivek. He wrote, "It was my honor to help support the creation of Doge. I'm confident that Elon and team will succeed in streamlining government." That's an interesting way to put it. I'll have more to say very soon about my future plans in Ohio. Very vague. But most importantly, we're all in to help President Trump make America great again. This is sort of a half-hearted statement, to be all things considered. I did find this tweet funny. I will be honest. I did like it. But this Twitter account wrote, maybe if you attended more sleepovers, you wouldn't have pissed off half the country and gotten yourself fired. And, you know, I think this really summarizes or encapsulates the situation here, and that because of Vivek Ramaswamy's Christmas tweet, there is a question about whether or not he's actually being fired. It's just being handled very carefully here. And, you know, we don't know what conversations were had about this, about whether or not he really was fired or being forced out or not. I think it was more of an agreement or a compromise that was set between the two parties. But I think that this is also sort of well-deserved because, again, I don't know if you guys remember the Christmas tweet, but here it is. And for those that don't know what I mean by the Christmas tweet, I'll just say it again. On Christmas Day, or I think after Christmas, Vivek Ramaswamy came out with this tweet because H-1B visas was a major talking point and conversation. There was discourse around it on Twitter about whether or not H-1B visas should be a thing in the American job market, and that it is causing major job displacement in the United States. And, you know, some people came out defending the H-1B visa programs. A lot of others came out saying that it's highly ineffective and it's actually hurting Americans and American workers. Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't know if you guys can guess which team he was on, but he was on team pro H-1B. I know, shocking. But this tweet, it's a very long, as you can see here, it's a very long tweet. I won't be reading all of it, obviously. But it did upset a lot of people for understandable reasons. And that, you know, this claim that he needs to, maybe he should have attended more sleepovers, it's a reference to this tweet. Basically him making fun of Americans or saying they don't have as much as that, I suppose, East Indian work ethic that he has or H-1B recipients have. This quote in particular where he says, "Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long." at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen. And I'm only reading this to really, bring you guys up to speed here, or to remind you why people are so mad at Vivek and why he possibly could be being pushed out here. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ, or the jock over the valedictorian, will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World, or Zach and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters, will not produce the best engineers. So, because the United States does not embrace Urkel nationalism, this is why we cannot be we cannot help American workers, or why American job displacement is becoming a major issue for current and present generations and upcoming generations of the United States. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s, or even now, who raise their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. He's talking about American parenting, or the traditional American parenting style, where they emphasize what he calls mediocrity over others. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America. They were saying that even then, but only if our culture fully wakes up. So a new golden era in America means more H-1B visa recipients. Wonderful. Less American workers getting jobs. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy. Excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. I do want to remind Vivek, the space race and a lot of other innovations that the United States have done, and American supremacy for quite some time now. It wasn't until we started having, I'm sorry to say this, but major swaths of foreigners, especially illegal immigrants, come into our country, where we did see the decline of American exceptionalism. And back in the 60s, where we were part of the space race, and we even landed on the moon, I would call that a part of, I wouldn't call that normalcy or mediocrity. I would say that it is rather innovative and a part of American culture that is very exceptional. And I will not consider the conspiracy theorists out there. I really do believe we landed on the moon. But it is kind of like a slap in the face when he wrote this, and this is why a lot of people are upset with him. And I understand where they're coming from. And so this is why a lot of people think he was pushed out of Doge. Do you guys agree with that? What do you think? I think it makes a lot of sense why that would be the case. Okay, wonderful. At least Row House agrees with me. I see in the chat. Thank you, Row House. Okay, we have another. Okay, hold on a second, Row House. I do see your donation here.
Here comes the money.
Thank you, Row House, for the $5.
Here comes the money.
Okay, let me see. You are asking me to react to something, Row House, and I will gladly react to it. Let me first see what you sent me. Ah, yes. I know exactly what this is, Row House. Thank you for donating the $5. I really appreciate it. Guys, if we get in that $50, we're going to be bringing in Monster Kill. We're going to be bringing in Leo, but we got to get that $50 in. So far, we have 20. So we need $30 more, and we will be getting... Oh, hold on a second. So Entropy Nomad gifted memberships as well. Okay, so I can count that in. Urkel nationalism. Okay. Sorry about that. I was just reading the chat. Sorry about the Row House. Let me react to the tweet that you sent me here. Let me pull up my my thing here. Okay. So Row House, you donated $5 to get me to react to this sermon, and I will gladly react to it. I already know what's happening here. I know what she's gonna say, but I will do my due diligence and react to this and then share my thoughts. So thank you for the $5 and for submitting this. And you guys, you can always submit a clip for me to react to. Given that it is appropriate, I will react to it live, especially if you send in a donation.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are
Here we go. I love
gay,
this.
lesbian, and transgender children in
I love this.
Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals.
Yes.
They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
Melania doesn't look too happy either.
They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of...
Look at that face right there. This summarizes my reaction to this entire sermon, Row House. This reaction right here. In fact, everyone here except Trump surprisingly looks a little upset about this. Trump just has a good poker face, though.
Of our churches and mosques.
So initially, my thoughts when I heard
Synagogues.
this clip was whether or not this was an Episcopal church, and I believe I was right. And in fact, it was an Episcopal church. The reason why I know this is because Episcopal churches are imbued with people like this. But yes, my reaction to this is quite unfortunate. Now, I'm gonna upset a lot of people off with this comment. Actually, I will upset the two contingents of people with this comment. I don't think a lot of women should be pastors. I don't think that a lot of women should be pastors. But I also don't think it is necessarily, how would I say this? I do believe there are exceptions out there. So I think some women can be pastors and can be quite effective and good at what they do. But for the most part, they can't, especially because they fall into the line of this ideological capture that's occurring, particularly with certain Protestant denominations, including the Episcopal, which granted is a high church, which I don't necessarily like high churches personally for various reasons. But you do see that ideological capture you see that quite often. And in my experience with especially the Episcopalian branch is that they have female pastors quite often, and every single time I listen to them, they always say the same thing, and it's very left leaning, and that's quite unfortunate. So, but my reaction is pretty much this. It's just an eye roller. I've actually retweeted this, and I said, what I said to this tweet was that we do have to put this lady back in the crystal. At least that's what's going through Vance's head here. So that's how I feel about that. I don't know what you guys think about that, but those were my thoughts. I'm sorry I keep having this meter up. I keep forgetting to. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We have another donation? And I'm not even fully done with this stream. Thank you so much, Steel Bringer. Steel Bringer donated $10. Thank you so much, Steel Bringer. Thank God the inaugural prayers were way better. Yes, Steel Bringer. They were also fairly entertaining. I especially did like that black pastor that was preaching. It was entertaining, but I will say they were loads better than what this was. But yes, thank you for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that, Steel Bringer. So how many are we at right now? 10, 20. Okay, so we have $30, you guys. We just need 20 more. We just need 30 more. But anyways, I don't mind me. I'm just reading the chat. But let me pull up the next story. Because even though we're technically I typically end at 7, but I'm going to go longer today because I can. But we do have a lot more to cover here that I wanted to touch on. One of which is Donald Trump's Truth Social post here that I think is very important. Promises made, more promises kept. I just get distracted. I just called the mother of Ross William Albright to let her know that in honor of her and the libertarian movement, which supported me so strongly, it was my pleasure to have just signed a full and unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in modern day weaponization of government against me. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Absolutely ridiculous. This is quite amazing. Like many have been saying, promises made, promises kept. Donald Trump is serious about what he's doing, and it's so good to see that he is taking this seriously, and he is here to make major changes and really stick it to the establishment or the swamp that have gone out of their way to essentially ruin the lives of patriots, upend the lives of patriots. And, you know, they've done that. They use these people as examples and ruin their lives, but that's not happening any longer. And Trump is coming in to save us from that. So that's very good to see. So I wanted to pull that story up or that post for you guys. I did want to also. Okay. I didn't talk about Donald Trump's crypto. I may talk about that as well, but, let me go on a quick commercial break so I can pull up the next stories for you guys. Thank you for all the donations. I really do appreciate it. We are reaching to 2 hours. We're still going to keep going on the Golden Age post-inauguration stream. So you guys just hang in there. Buy yourself a bag of coffee while you're at it. I'm going to be pulling up the next stories, and we're going to be looking at a few more changes that Donald Trump has done. But I have other stories that I want to touch on that happened over the weekend that I didn't get to, and I wanted to talk about them. Particularly as it pertains to Biden's previous administration and just a complete mess that was, and some of the posts that he's done as well, particularly having to do with the Equal Rights Amendment. So I'll be talking about that as well, but just stay tuned and I will be right back.
The heart they gather strong, pushing back the left is strong. With the red banner held high, marching forward through the night. Promises of old will keep, as the donkeys start to weep. Stars and stripes forever sway, in the land of the brave we stay. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
With a flagpole planted firm,
golden dreams that won't decay,
marching proudly through the day.
In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains all, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
In the diner, sipping soda pop, jukebox tunes that never stop. I see faces from different scenes, lost in cultures on a different stream. We walk down the same old street, but our stories never meet. Different worlds side by side in this twisting 50s ride.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and free, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, through thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
Alrighty, we are back on. Hold on a second. It's really good to see the viewership on Rumble and on X. Please go ahead and share this on X if you're viewing it there, also formerly known as Twitter, before the occupation of Elon Musk. God bless him. And please retweet it if you're watching there, and that goes a long way in helping the stream, especially if you can't directly support us financially and make a donation. I also recommend that you do send in a Rumble rant, because if we do hit $20 more, if we get $20 more in, we will hit the $50 limit to unleashing. Hold on. To unleashing the beast. I do have the Leo meter up and running. For those that do want to see him. I do want to thank Mr. Labrisi on YouTube for saying that it's a fantastic show. I really appreciate it. And Freedom, there are no trans children. Leave the kids alone. True. Thank you, Daniela, for your common sense. Well, we need more of it. So thank you, Freedom. Anyway, I did want to bring up these next few stories. It doesn't have to do with Trump, but it does have to do with the previous administration leading up to the inauguration. It did happen over the weekend, and I didn't cover it because I wasn't streaming, but I wanted to cover it here. So let me pull up the stories, you guys. Hang on a second. Every time these transitions. Oh, there we go. So this is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Okay, maybe not the most ridiculous, but this is absolutely crazy. So I don't know if you guys know what the Equal Rights Amendment is, but it has... let me just read the tweet off to you. So Vice President Kamala Harris and also Biden tweeted this just a couple days before the inauguration. I believe it was posted on Saturday night. January 17th. And this is what she wrote. The Equal Rights Amendment is the 28th Amendment, and it is a law of the land. Pop quiz for you guys. How many amendments do you think there are? I will give you a hint. It is not 28. It's actually 27. So they can just make up amendments now. This is the release here, a statement from the Vice President on the Equal Rights Amendment. This is what it says. Equality is a fundamental promise of our democracy. Hold on. Equality is a fundamental promise of our democracy. That is why the Equal Rights Amendment belongs in our Constitution. It makes our nation stronger. It is the law of the land because American people have spoken. History teaches us that civil rights are fought for and won with every generation. That continues to be true today, which is why I have spent my career fighting for the freedoms and to expand opportunities for women and girls. This is why they stick transgender people in our bathrooms. Thank you so much, Vice President Kamala. Gosh, goodness almighty. And I'm glad that this of course it'll be fact checked, but the note here says that the Archivist of the United States, charged with officially publishing ratified amendments, has confirmed, indeed, that the ERA was not ratified and based that analysis on binding legal precedent. There is no 28th Amendment. And here's a statement that it links to, a statement on the Equal Rights Amendment ratification process. You do need a certain number of states that would ratify it in order for it to be considered to be put into the Constitution as an amendment, but we clearly have not gotten to that point. And I mean, the ERA was being pushed since the 70s. I would know this. I worked for a little organization known as Eagle Forum, and Eagle Forum was essentially started off by a woman named Phyllis Schlafly, who single-handedly, you could argue, stopped at the ERA, or the Equal Rights Amendment, for passing. And the reason why this would be is because there are a few issues with the Equal Rights Amendment, one of which, and the one that I personally take a lot of contention with, is the fact that it would draft women. So not exactly something me or a lot of other women I think would be happy with, but regardless, it was never ratified. It never became a 28th Amendment. And so still somehow Kamala tweeted that it was. Again, I'm going to highlight this. The Equal Rights Amendment is the 28th Amendment. She's just lying. I don't know why, on what basis she had to make this tweet. So, but I love the responses. I just wanted to go through some of these with you guys. From Aaron McIntyre. Cool that we can just change the Constitution. I'm going to play this song again. Hold on. Not this one. Not that one. This one. Cool that we can just change the Constitution with tweets now. Trump is going to love this new rule. No, it isn't. You can't just magically add an amendment to the Constitution. Schoolhouse Rock. I love this one. Someone just literally screenshotted There are 27 amendments to the Constitution, beginning with the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, which were ratified in 1791. Yeah, there's 27. Yeah, and I like this one. It really brings to home the legitimacy of former Vice President Kamala's education. This is not how it works. Where did you receive your law degree again? I mean, this is common sense and basic knowledge. But anyway, this seems to be like the last hurrah that these people have had, her and Biden included, before coming out of the administration. And it did make me wonder why they were doing this. I mean, it's not effective. They sent out these press releases for immediate release, these press releases, but I don't quite understand what the strategy would be. It really was a head scratcher, and it did catch a lot of people off kill. It did confuse everyone, because we're trying to decide, like, what exactly is going on here. Is this like somewhat of an ideological coup that's happening before Trump takes office? Will something happen to Trump and somehow preventing him from take office and them pushing this? It really is an interesting question. Clearly that didn't happen. Thank goodness it didn't happen, but very unusual. And of course, you do have the NGO class coming in, as they usually do in cases like this, trying to amend the Constitution through the invocation of expertise. As we know, experts are very helpful. This is what they sent out. Let me zoom in. Can't quite read it. Throughout his career in public office, Joe Biden has honored his oath to uphold the Constitution and defend the rights of women. Obviously, those two things go hand in hand. It has been the honor of my career to counsel him as he champions the cause of gender equality. President Biden's carefully considered decision to recognize the Equal Rights Amendment, or the ERA's status as the 28th Amendment to the Constitution, brings the White House in line with the legal academy and profession. Knowing him as long as I have, it came to no surprise that our president has been working through the end of his presidency to advocate the rights of millions of Americans. The president has acted. Our task now is to make the promise of the ERA real for every American, and to defend it from those who will work tirelessly to deny its promise. Regardless of what you think about the ERA, I personally don't think it's the best thing, but regardless of what you think of it, whether or not you think it should be an amendment, I do want to know what this was. Why are they just lying? And why are previous officials, are they just so, because you have to understand that this is a very big claim that they are making. And it is exactly what it is, a lie. And so it looks so unprofessional. It looks effectively legally illiterate, and completely misunderstanding the process of how this works. And it's quite shocking to me, because it looks bad. It really looks bad when you have former officials tweet things like this. Did it not occur to them how this looks or how this sounds? Again, I just want to know the strategy. I am as curious about this as much as I am, if not more, than what Elon Musk was thinking when he threw out the alleged Roman. It's so out there and so strange and mesmerizing that it really makes you wonder or think about their intentions. It's so bad. Why would you do something like this? Anyway, I did want to play this clip of Phyllis Schlafly explaining the issue with the ERA, just to give you an idea. Again, I'm not going to have a debate here about whether or not the ERA is good or bad, but as a former employee of Eagle Forum, I did want to bring some attention to this. I think it'd be quite educational. And for those that don't know who Phyllis Schlafly is, she is a major conservative figurehead and a fountainhead of knowledge. She has passed away as of just a few years ago, but perhaps actually 10 years ago at this point. But she, like I said, basically came into conservative vogue, you could say, within conservative culture or American conservative culture, through essentially starting the Stop ERA campaign when the ERA was being pushed in the early 1970s. And thanks to her efforts and the efforts of her campaign and her grassroots mobilization, the ERA was halted. It was stopped from being fully ratified. And from that came out the organization known as Eagle Forum. Today, in the modern present day, Eagle Forum isn't as well known, particularly with younger generations, but maybe I have some old heads in the chat that would know what I'm referring to when I say Eagle Forum. But I did used to work for them, and they were a very effective organization, particularly in the 80s and the 90s, and has helped shape what the conservative movement is and has become today. But this is its figurehead, Phyllis Schlafly, explaining the issue of the ERA.
Under our system, in case of the breakup of marriage, the mother gets her children in most cases. Now, who wants to trade that in for a so-called equality, whereby each parent gets one child?
Well, I don't think the Equal Rights Amendment says that either,
yes.
that in case of a divorce, each parent gets one child.
It says that you've got to interpret things absolutely equally. Now, take another point is the draft. Everybody admits that the Equal Rights Amendment will make women...
With when it relates to the ERA is the draft. And I think that was a major point against it, and why a lot of people did not want to support it and still don't want to support it, by the way, in that it would require the draft for women. And that's, something, despite what these feminists preach, they perhaps don't want that.
Subject to the draft. There's no dispute about this. This is admitted in all the hearings and debate and testimony. And it's beyond me why women should agitate to be drafted. But if they want to be drafted, they could go volunteer. But why do they want to take the right from the rest of women away so that we are subject to the draft?
If we're talking about the Equal Rights Amendment, that's one thing, we can argue about it. If we're talking about the women's liberation movement per se, that is something else. And what it does offer women is the choice which you're beginning to have to work or not to work. And some women would even want to be drafted and feel that they should serve.
Then they should volunteer.
That they should have equality. But is your major objection the Equal Rights Amendment? Is that what bothers you about the women's liberation movement? Not the movement itself, but that particular law, which, by the way, has not been ratified by all of the states?
The major objection to the Equal Rights Amendment is that it would take away from women rights and privileges which they now have.
Very well put, Phyllis. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that something like the ERA, which is a creation of the second wave feminist movement, which was when this was all occurring, is that it is posed as something that is to help women's liberation and to have women on equal standing with men in society and in the public world. And essentially, it's marketed as something that would forward a meritocratic or egalitarian system. But like I said earlier on the stream, as far as natural hierarchies are concerned, with some things like the draft, that just simply cannot be. If you want an effective system, as far as the draft is concerned, and combat, women are just simply, at least physically, as they are concerned physically, are not adept at flourishing in those fields, and yet the ERA would force upon this fake, this fake equality. And the reason why I call it fake, I guess technically it is equality, but it's not equality in a way that's efficient. It will essentially eliminate certain freedoms that women are enjoying. And let me be real about this. The best role in society is to be a woman in America. You can do anything you want. And you can get away with a lot, legally speaking, as they've talked about with divorces and having access to children. But this is why the men's rights movement is so popular these days. But women have a lot to thrive. I have a lot of reasons to thrive in American society, and still we have feminists, I don't know what wave we're in, I suppose a fourth wave at this point of feminism, that still find reasons to complain. And, thanks to intersectionality now, we have to include people of other ethnicities and other physical ailments, I suppose, or disabilities on the conversation as well, which I don't understand how it applies if feminism is only a female-centric, woman-centric movement, but regardless. But what Phyllis Schlafly is saying here is true, is that women do have a lot at their disposal, and the ERA, even though it's posited as something that would platform them into getting better access to certain resources or to certain decision-making powers, actually isn't so. In fact, it could actually limit them in a lot of ways and disadvantage them.
Rights to stay home.
They still have that right. The Equal Rights Amendment does not take away that
according
right.
to law. According to the best constitutional authority and the debates in the Senate, this would remove and wipe out the laws of the 50 states which make the husband primarily responsible for the financial support of his wife and children. And it isn't a matter of what you or I think. It's a matter of what is shown in the legislative history and in the leading constitutional law.
Time is up, and it's about time someone like you had the last word.
Anyway, but I found that interesting. Again, we all have difference of opinion about how this would be applied, or rather how important it is to identify the Equal Rights Amendment and to ratify it. But fact of the matter is, and to really bring my point across, is that it hasn't been ratified. It is not an amendment. And again, I just don't understand why former President Biden and former Vice President Kamala Harris would even tweet this. Very unusual behavior. I still have the meter up. A woman wants to have their cake and eat it too, or I guess Quest Fanning wrote, want to have their cake and eat it too. That's funny. Alrighty. We have a few Twitch comments. That's really good to see. I want to thank everyone that has joined the stream and is in the chat. I really do appreciate your guys' input. I do want to bring Leo on, but I don't know. We're not reaching the $50 donation limit. Quest Fanning, Episcopalian sounds like some kind of ice cream dessert. Is that the correct terminology? Because I have heard people use that term before. I've also heard people say Episcopal, and I've always said Episcopalian, but I never knew if that was like the correct way to say it. So please let me know if what I'm saying is incorrect. All right. I have a few more stories I will bring up, and then I will wrap this stream up. But I don't know if Leah will come on today. We'll see. We have over 1.6 thousand viewers on Twitter. Hold on. I want to screenshot this. Nice. That's always good to see. It's because I was on longer today, and that's why we're reaching those. Maybe we'll get to 2,000 viewers on Twitter. That would be great. So we'll see if that happens. Okay, I'm going to be right back, you guys. I'm going to bring up the next couple stories. That was a little bit of a tangent. Can you give us a running total for the Beast Meter, JJ? JJ, we are at $30. The limit, thank you for reminding me, JJ. The limit is $50. If we get $50 in donations, I will bring Leo out. So if you guys donate a Rumble Rant, this is the rules of the chat and of the stream. You will hear that sound every time someone makes a donation, and I've been playing it every time someone made a donation. We are at $30. We just need $20 more to unleash the beast. And that is why I had that meter up, so it can remind you. I need to find a way. I don't exactly know how yet to update the meter where you could see. Looks like we got a donation. I don't know how to update the meter to show like the active, like the number we're at. I will play around with the technology that I have access to and hopefully do that. So I will just update you guys. We are at presently now $34 thanks to Nomad Johnny. We just need 26 more and we'll get Leo on. Nomad Johnny, thank you so much for the donation of $4. He wrote, Culturama is the best. It is the best, Nomad Johnny. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so we just need about like, sorry, not 20. I'm sorry. We just need like $16 more and we can get Leo on. I demand you change your button icon. You don't own a Ben F. What does this mean, Nick Lee on Twitch? I don't know what you mean by that. I demand you change your button icon. What button icon are you referring to? Apologies for my ignorance here. You need to get a what? Like Bulldozer 74. I don't know. Your guys' comments. I can't even. Quest Fanning, are you listening? I don't see all the updates for the gift subs under my donations tab. Could you let me know how many gift subs were given? I will take your word for it. Just let me know, because I for some reason, let me check on my phone app, but I haven't been totaling those up. But if you're listening, Quest Fanning, please let me know how many gift subs are given. Was it just one for Steffi? Robbie Thurman, you bought a candle? I don't even have a good sound effect for that. Robbie, thank you so much for buying a candle.
Here we go. Money
Robbie,
talk.
did you just buy the candle? I can count that as a donation. Just one? Okay, Entropy. I can count that in. Entropy Nomad gave one. Okay. Yeah, I can count that in. How much is a gifted sub, Entropy? Please remind me how much a gifted sub is, and I'll add that in the total. Also, Robbie Thurman did bought a candle. Robbie, did you just buy that candle? Let me check the price. If you did buy the candle now, that's going to overwhelmingly go over the $50 limit. So $6. Okay, $6. Yeah. So we just need like 10 more bucks. Yeah, so that's $10, that's 20, 30, 40. Yeah, we just need 10 more bucks. Let me see if Robbie Thurman just bought the candle. I can count that in as a donation, and we can count that towards the let me check the price again. I'm pretty sure the price is hold on a second. Chirama collection AP4 Liberty Shop. Whoops. $6.49. Thank you, Quest. Robbie Thurman, when did you buy this candle? Did you buy it just now in the stream, or did you buy it previously? Also, I'm glad you're enjoying the smell of the candle. A candle is, yeah, $25. So it will definitely go over the limit. You did? Robbie, guys.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You know what this means? It means the beast has been unleashed, everyone. Robbie Thurman just said that he also bought a candle, so that goes way above our limit. We had only $10 left, and the candle is $25. So that means we have surpassed the $50 limit. Okay, I'm gonna be bringing Leo on, but give me like a couple minutes. I'm gonna go dress him up. You guys, yes, we have reached it, Row House. We have reached the Unleash the Beast meter of $50 in donations. Thank you, everyone that did donate. Through your efforts, we brought Leo in, and we are unleashing the beast. We are unleashing the beast, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be bringing him in. Give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna dress him up. You guys did it. I am going to be unleashing the beast. Stay tuned.
In the heart they gather strong, pushing back the lefty throng. With the red banner held high, marching forward through the night. Promises of old will keep, as the donkeys start to weep. Stars and stripes forever sway, in the land of the brave we stay. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
With a flagpole planted firm,
golden dreams that won't decay,
marching proudly through the day. In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive, in the light of freedom's guide. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down.
Okay, are you guys ready for the Unleash the Beast? Here he is. Whoa. Guys, get ready. Are you guys ready? Here we go. We have Leo here. There we go. This is Leo in his gay pride outfit. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Leo is a liberal. And this is of course all handmade. It has fully equipped with a halter top. He does have a cowboy hat as well. All handmade, of course. Here he is, everyone. And it's fully equipped with the YMCA cowboy hat. He did wear this for Pride Month at one point as a joke. Here he is. What do you guys think? I should have put a necklace on him. My apologies. I should have put a necklace on him. But the beast has been fully unleashed. He is, yes, Steelbringer. Leo is an official village person, a village people member. So I did have a little bit of Leo lore for you guys. I did used to have a Instagram account for Leo, and on that Instagram account, it was a complete parody, but I said that he was transgender. I said that Leo, was in gay pride parades, and he was Episcopalian, actually. And so there's a bunch of lore behind it, and maybe one day I will bring out that Instagram page to read through, because it was kind of like a one giant parody. So for one of the posts, I did have this handmade gay pride dress made for him, and I think he's wearing it right. I'm not quite sure. It's fully equipped with a halter top, and it goes all the way around, and it's fully rainbow. I see like that. His butt sticking out there, but yes, and like I've always said, Leo is the official DEI hire for in my family and of my heart. And so Lily Vetta Flowers is upset in the chat, on the YouTube chat, because he's a Democrat. Unfortunately, Leo is a little bit of a liberal. At least that's what the story was for quite some time. But he is smarter. Yes, Robbie Thurman, he is smarter than your average liberal. I will say he did not vote for Biden this time around. Even Leo got a little bit upset with the previous administration. Quest Fanning, now I can rest. He has seen Leo. Oh my gosh. Yes, everyone. That the beast has been unleashed. All of your donations always go to a good cause. And of course, because Leo is on a very strict pescatarian diet, he has to eat only fish, actually, for real, because he's allergic to chicken and beef. So your donations also help in keeping him healthy as well and alive for a little bit longer. Even though he probably craves death some days, like today, where he has to wear this dress. I'm going to make him live longer. Indeed, Barney. Most dogs are socialist parasites. Also, Robbie Thurman, you make a very good point. Make him an OnlyFans. Speaking of OnlyFans, I did want to cover one more story before we get off. So I want to cover that. He's very heavy, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to bring him on here. There we go, Leo. But he will be staying with us for the rest of the stream. Again, this is how Leo pays rent. And why he doesn't get kicked out outside is by doing things like this. So I'm going to put him on my lap here. Speaking of OnlyFans, don't worry, Nomad Johnny. I'm not announcing an OnlyFans. God, I would never do that. But there's a story I wanted to cover that relates to OnlyFans. That's why I said it. But I'm gonna put Leo up on my leg here so you guys can see him better. There we go. Leo, do you have any statements of OnlyFans, or whether we should ban it in America? On the segment of Unleash the Beast, I do always ask Leo's opinion on the next story. So, Leo, your thoughts on OnlyFans? Thank you so much, Leo. Just to translate for you guys that don't understand Leo's language, he says that sex work is not real work. Okay, so let me pull up this next story here. And apologies for being a little slow. I'm like doing multiple things at once here, so my apologies. But let me pull this story up. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. And let's see here. Let me play music in the background while I do this. Perfect. Got it. Got him. Okay. So that's Leo screaming for help, by the way. He's psychologically implanting in all your guys' heads right now. Okay, so I have this next story. Like I said, speaking of OnlyFans, a lot of talk has been going around about TikTok getting banned. And I know I didn't really cover it on the stream because, first of all, I assume and I expect all you guys to be aware of that. But also there was just so much more to cover today. But the TikTok was going to be banned and Trump reinstated it, also securing the future youth vote and the loyal embrace of Zoomers everywhere. But, in America will hopefully, as far as I'm aware, partially own TikTok. Or there have been rumors that Meta Platforms will partially own TikTok, at least a branch that's found in America. But that removed, there has been a conversation about whether or not TikTok should be banned and whether or not, instead, OnlyFans should be banned because it is truly affecting it's socially denigrating our culture here in the United States. Yes, Leo, it's okay. Leo's getting uncomfortable because we're talking about a very uncomfortable situation here. He would just die if TikTok was banned. Oh, he loves TikTok. Leo used to have a TikTok, by the way. That's also part of the lore. So they're having conversations about whether or not OnlyFans should be banned. And this has come to my attention, this video, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but a Turkish OnlyFans creator was arrested after she announced that she was having sexual intercourse with over 100 men. And this is just like, this is beautiful. Hold on. Does this have volume? Can we play this? Does it not have sound? Darn. I don't think this video has sound. But here we go. This is, as you can see there, this is the OnlyFans creator. They're arresting her. I don't know who the man is in front of her or if that's another woman, but there she is. Yeah, there's another, that's probably her. That's another man that they've forced down there. But yeah, they're arresting her. And the community note states that OnlyFans creator, I'm not pronouncing that name. I'm sorry. Gizem, I guess is her first name, was arrested in December 2023 for violating Turkish obscenity laws as outlined in Article 226 of the Turkish Penal Code, following the OnlyFans ban in Turkey. Contrary to some claims, she was not arrested for promising sex with 100 men. So it doesn't have to do with this. It has to do with the fact that she was engaging in an activity that was deemed basically illegal in that country. But still, I think this certainly plays a part. Her announcing this sleep with X amount of men trend that seems to be going around in the West, at least. She's tried to do the same thing and clearly got her enough attention where the government found out about it and decided to arrest her. Now, what do you guys think about that? I am on the fence on this. I will say I don't know how I feel about banning things in general or certain services. But at the same time, seeing the utmost social degeneracy that has followed through from the introduction of something like OnlyFans in our society, not just pornography, but also normalizing parasocial relationships that are absolutely toxic, and allowing that to flourish and proliferate in our country is rather questionable to the health of the future generations. And considering that, I don't have any studies pulled up about this, but I recently found an article which explained how, statistically speaking, people are spending less time with their friends and their families, in-person interactions, and more people are spending time alone. I wish I remembered the title of that so I could look it up. But we are having an epidemic of loneliness. This is not new. I've talked about this on stream before, and I'm sure the streams that you guys watch also talk about the same thing, and how the dating market is it's a mess. It's just as bad as the job market, or in some ways even worse. And the loneliness epidemic is really affecting both young men and women. I know people like to focus on men, but it affects women just in different ways. But it affects women just as much. It affects them where they feel like they have to do stuff like this, like sleep with over 100 men to even be attractive. No thanks. I almost said thanks. No thanks to these two people like Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue, for those that don't know, slept with over 1,000 men in 24 hours. And I don't want to be covering stories like this on my show anymore, because I think that Lily Phillips just came out and said that she wants to do another another challenge where she sleeps with over 100 men, but she does... Oh geez, how do I put this? There's children in the stream here. I can't talk about this. I'm kidding. Leo's an old man. But she does another form of sexual intercourse, if you know what I'm trying to say here. Look, this is a classy show. So anyway, announcing that obviously garnered some attention over the weekend. I'm sure someone will say in the chat what she said. Because, an activity like that, like usual sexual intercourse, that's one thing. Another is when you do the other one, and then that could actually has real health implications down the line. Like, seriously, it could, in fact, kill you if you don't do it correctly, I guess, if there is a correct way to do it. But anyway, so, promoting these activities, and it's just so gross. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like to be covering OnlyFans stuff anymore, and I don't think I will be, unless it is very pertinent to the conversation. I will be. A story like this, I think, opens up a potential for a broader conversation about normalizing or even legally disqualifying OnlyFans in our society, whether that's a good or bad thing, I will talk about. But more challenges like this is really gross, and I don't want to be talking about that. But yeah, no thanks to people like this, Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips. It is promoting this this degeneracy where we're teaching young girls that they have the sexual agency to do whatever it is they want, when in reality they will be psychologically battering themselves to the point where they will lose or misconstrue their identity as a young woman and psychologically berate themselves into basically a status of an animal. So you see these challenges where they sleep with over 100 men, 1,000 men, one way or the other, is really gross and sad. But I did want to watch this video. I thought it was kind of funny. OnlyFans creator Bonnie Blue, the one that slept with the 1,000 men last week or so, pressured a Five Guys worker to have intercourse with her. His response was no. He is a Christian man. God bless him. We love it when guys say no to women like that. And I will always say that abstinence should be taught to young men and young women. It's not just a girl thing or a female thing. It's for both. It's good for your mental state. It's good for your emotional and psychological state for both sexes. And I'm not going to condemn people that done otherwise. Obviously, we all have our different histories, but I will always stand strongly by the fact that abstinence should be reintroduced in our culture. It absolutely is possible for everyone. it's a psyop to say that it's impossible or that no one can do it through a certain amount of time. I know that it can be done, and it should be reintroduced as such. We should go back to was it the ancient Greeks that stated, or was it the Romans? I can't remember, but not saying that abstinence was a big part of their culture, but they essentially looked at sexuality, or promiscuity rather, in a very vulgar way, in which someone that was considered overly promiscuous or sexual or endowed in certain ways were considered vulgar, and one's control over one's impulses was considered the height of virtue. And I think we need to reintroduce that, because we desperately need it, because we live in a culture right now that teaches that promiscuity is your natural state. That's the state that it's normal, it's normalized, and it's a state where we indicate that if you act in animalistic ways or in a promiscuous ways, that's what it's expected of you socially. And if you do the opposite of that, if you do want to walk in the pathway of virtue, and you do want to practice abstinence or chastity, or if you value chastity, that makes you weird and a social pariah. Let me tell you, that's not the natural state at all, actually. Humans do have control over our impulses. That's what makes us human, and we should view it as such. Anyway, let me play this clip for you guys. Enough of my ranting.
After your shift. I mean, I'd want... Okay.
Let's go from the beginning.
I just wondered, I can't see it on the menu, but where do I get the 5 guys from?
There we go.
The 5 guys.
The 5 guys. She thinks she's very clever.
I don't know if there's like a special room where you can take me out back.
No, I don't think that's happening.
What about after your shift? I mean, I'd want to give you, a good rating.
I'm a Christian man and I'm saving myself money.
That's right.
I'm asking for what's on the menu, that's all.
Genuinely, I feel like I'm doing it right now. I can hand you a menu if you want.
Are you on it?
No, I'm not.
Oh, that's a shame.
By the way, I hate to be that guy, but like, what if the roles were reversed and a guy talked to her in that way, asking her if she's on the menu and completely objectifying her in this way? It is kind of funny, but it's very gross. And I imagine it. I'm just saying for a second. Imagine if the roles were reversed. How do you think the girl would react? Well, are you on the menu? Come on. Come on. She would be offended. Come on, guys. If you can't say it to a girl, don't say it to a guy. Okay? Anyway. But good for him for saying no. Like I said, we love that here on Culturama. When you say no to promiscuity like this, it's like that Russian meme. Well, it's not a meme. It's an illustration. But do you guys know like the one where he says no to the drink? Oh, geez. Let me find it. Anyway, saying no to promiscuous behavior is desirable. Do you guys know the meme I'm talking about? Yeah, this one. This is the meme I was talking about. I can't find it without. Whatever. I'm talking about this meme right here, where he says no to the drink. This is the attitude we should be taking against women like this. Okay. That says no in Russian, by the way, for those that don't know. This is the attitude we need to be taking. Okay, I think I made my point loud and clear there. Nomad Johnny, the chat feels ignored. Well, my apologies, Nomad Johnny. Let me just come back to the chat. I've only been trying to periodically check every time I can. when I go off on a tangent, I'll just talk about it. And when I have the back window open where you can see what's on my computer screen, I have to exit out of the chat because I don't have two monitors. I'm only working with one. So my apologies. That's why I don't like to, when I go back in to check the chat, I don't want to show like the Rumble Studio or the OBS system open so you guys can see that in the background. So I will have to like go back and forth between exiting out of the chat and then coming back in. So that's why I don't always refer to the chat live by the, like in the midst of telling a story. But the ancient Romans and Greeks were super freaks. This is true. In some ways they were. Row House, Five Guys, why not In-N-Out Burger? Row House, that's really funny. I gotta hand it to you. Why not In-N-Out Burger? Okay, Row House, yes, Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue are both British. What is happening in Britbon land that generates such ridiculous woman? Oh, wait a second. Did we get a donation from Row House? Row House, thank you so much. Even after the beast was unleashed, Row House sent $5. Thank you so much, Row House. I really appreciate that. Row House asks, Daniela, do you tend to fault more the men who join and pay for OnlyFans or the women who provide the service, or is it just equal fault to both? Row House, I do believe it is an equal effort. You cannot have one without the other, and it is a symbiotic relationship. And I blame the women just as much as the men. I blame anyone who participates in this behavior. And there is something far more sinister about OnlyFans than simply pornography. Although I'm not saying pornography is all good and healthy either, you know, but OnlyFans is different in that it is cultivating a, how do I put this, a communication style that is very toxic. It's cultivating many parasocial relationships where it saps the energy and the capability of young men to perform that way and to communicate with young women in the public world. And it capitalizes off of their insociability, and it captures their ability to communicate and whatever energy they have to do so. And it perverts it in a way where when young men do try to communicate offline into the real world and try to make a relationship, it is done so in a manner that replicates what they have done with OnlyFans and these parasocial relationships, and is just simply off-putting in real world interactions. And it cannot be replicated in real world interactions because, you know, shocker, but normal girls aren't OnlyFans models. They're not, you know, they're not online, these online personalities. There is a different way to communicate with young girls, and when young men try to make relationships with women, it just falls flat on their face, because the only way that they did learn to communicate with women was in this parasocial way, and it's just very toxic. So, and you're just going to have, when you have enough of that, you're going to generate a generation of young men that don't know how to communicate, and young women that are either off-put by that, or also who strive to be these women that are desired after, which just perpetuates the issue. And, you know, in a way that does affect birth rates, although I don't think that's the number one reason that birth rates are affected. But it is one of the reasons why birth rates are affected. But regardless of birth rates, that's not the most important point of a relationship, I don't believe. I think connectivity is. And you cannot have well-being and connectivity when you communicate in that way. And that creates people that are very disconnected from reality and disconnected from themselves, which, even if you do reproduce, will create a person that will also be disconnected from reality. And then, therefore, you just have a generation of people that are inherently disconnected and have toxic communication styles. I don't like the word toxic, but I think you guys understand what I'm trying to get at. Entropy Nomad wrote, a marketplace of false expectations and broken desires. Yes, exactly. What are you guys saying in the chat? Rohouse said he had one more rant for me. Rohouse, if you do have one more rant, please go ahead and donate it. Otherwise, unless that was the one you were talking about. But novel idea, marriage, it's only fans, the one person, and you live with them and raise a future together. Entropy Nomad, that's funny. That's the usual meme I see. I've said it before. Quest Fanning writes. Quest Fanning wrote, I've said it before, if you don't find the rare right woman, 3/4 of guys would go better off with MGTOW. Similarly with women as well, Quest Fanning, if they don't find the rare right man, they end up being these angry feminists. But both sides are angry at each other. Thank you, Mr. Labrisi. That is true. You're very wise. Well, I really appreciate that. I love hearing this. Mr. Pig sent in, thank you, Mr. Pig, sent in a tweet. I'll take a look at it before I sign off here. Because I covered, well, not everything I want to cover, but I am reaching the 3-hour mark. And I am getting pretty hungry. Unless you guys want me to eat on stream. But I have this member, Mr. Pig, sent me a tweet here in the chat. He wants me to talk about the Chris Rufo tweet. Mr. Pig, you didn't send a Rumble rant for that. I'm kidding. I'll talk about it anyway. Let me look at this tweet here and touch on it. President Trump has signed an executive order rescinding hold on, let me open the... Breaking. President Trump has signed an executive order rescinding Lyndon B. Johnson's Executive Order 11246, which establishes affirmative action. Okay. When was this? Was this during the stream? Yeah. 7:42 p.m. This just happened. Breaking news, everyone. You heard it here first. Donald Trump has rescinded affirmative action and banning all federal contractors at publicly funded universities from practicing race-based discrimination, including DEI. That is amazing. Of course, he's going to grift his stuff on here, but that is amazing. Wonderful. This is what I keep talking about, you guys. There's a major shift happening. There's a major shift happening. And although you can call this artificial because it is an executive order, and that he's forcing the Overton window to shift, the point being is that he is fundamentally changing policies in the United States that will force people to engage in these ways, that won't be engaging in ways that promote and cultivate DEI practices. But it forces us to take a step further and closer towards a meritocratic system. So this is wonderful news. I just retweeted it. This is great. I do not have another sound effect for this one. I need to get more sound effects. I only have so much space on my stream deck. But this is wonderful news. People are just saying huge, massive. Good question. Will this eliminate desperate impact? This person asks. Christopher Rufo responds, it will chip away at it, but there needs to be more action. And of course, the executive orders doesn't answer to everything or fix everything, but it is chipping away at these strongholds that we needed to chip away at for quite some time now. So this is wonderful news. Wonderful. What do you guys think of that? This is great. Someone wants me to eat on stream. You guys don't want me to eat on stream. It'll be messy. If I get $15 in donations, then I'll eat on stream. Otherwise, then I'll eat on stream. How about that? in the next 10 minutes. If I get $15 in donations, then I'll eat on stream. Otherwise, I'll be wrapping it up. Honestly, if affirmative action worked, its work should be done by now. It doesn't work, so why then have it? Quest fanning because we all know why they want it. Okay? They want to undermine heritage Americans. They want to undermine efficiency in America. And there's various reasons why they're doing it, actually. There's not one sole reason. A lot of people that do promote these programs do it within... they do it with the right intentions. They think they really are fixing an anti-meritocratic system, or one that... We just got a donation. One that posed... a system that is posed against the inferior... Well, I'm not gonna say inferior, but people that are disadvantaged. Sorry, I have a... People are celebrating in the chat. I'm trying to make a point, but everyone's just happy that Robbie donated $20. Okay, listen. Anyway, to wrap my point up in a little bow. People impose DEI policies for various reasons. Some do it with the right intentions. Others do it because they truly want to undermine efficiency in America. That's all I wanted to say. Okay. I got the $20. I saw the $20. So... Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money. Thank you, Robbie Thurman, for the $20. You guys have spoken. The people have spoken. I will be bringing in the food. Give me one commercial break, and I will be eating on stream. Stay tuned for the Daniela Pensac mukbang. I will be eating. Just stay tuned, everyone. I will be right back.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben and Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm...
Okay. The people have spoken. So what I have here with me today... Hold on, my dog is in my way. Guys, I will be eating spring rolls today. I thought I had chicken nuggets, but I was wrong. I actually have Leo. I actually have spring rolls. Hold on a second. So, you guys are gonna appreciate this. Are you guys ready? And to top it all off, I have this sauce here. When you dance on your paws, Okay. I will be eating on stream right now. Okay, and I did see that I think Quest had to go to bed. Quest Fanning, have a good night. Thank you for joining. This stream is going a little long, but I said there was chicken nuggets. I was wrong. I smelled it incorrectly. It's actually spring rolls. I have a whole plate of spring rolls right here, and I will be consuming them in front of you as promised, and then we will wrap the show up. So I'm going to dip it in the sauce here, and of course I have my dog with me, so... Very good. A cold shawarma mukbang. Oh, a cold shawarma mukbang for all of you. Thank you. I was actually needing to eat something. Okay. You guys got what you wanted. You're seeing me eat. All right. Only food, right? Daniela eats. Forget OnlyFans. Does Leo get a spring? We'll see if Leo eats a spring roll. I don't think he knows how to eat it. Okay, Leo. Can you eat this? I don't know if you can eat that. These are pretty good, actually. Okay, so let me see if I can read one more story here, and then we can wrap it up tonight, you guys. But the $20 goes a long way, actually. This actually tastes really good. I barely ate today, so... Okay, do we have any other stories here? I was needing to. Let me see if I can cover one more story for you guys. What do I have on my show run? What is this? Trump enforces a one flag policy? Let's take a look at this. Excuse me. Trump enforces a one flag policy across U.S. outposts. This is interesting. The U.S. State Department again, Trump is just making moves left and right here. The U.S. State Department under President Trump has enacted a one flag policy, which mandates that only the American flag can be displayed at all U.S. government buildings and outposts worldwide. That's crazy. This policy bans the flying of any other flags, including those representing ideological movements like Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ+ community. Wow. That's crazy. Good. This should have been done a long time ago. Hold on, I gotta celebrate with another... So stuff like this, not happening anymore. No more gay flags. No more gay flags. No more BLM flags. No more Israel flag. No more Ukraine flag. No more other nation flag. No more Palestinian flag. Only American flag. That's awesome. It's a massive double. This image goes hard. Look at that. That's crazy. What a time to be alive, you guys. This is really big. I don't think I'm sure most of you understand, but some may not really understand. I don't think you understand what's happening here. Trump is doing power plays left and right, and it's making them scared, and it's making the establishment scared, and this is amazing. And it's really showing, it's called the one flag policy. Okay, I'm gonna have to read more about this, but this has happened 2 hours ago, so it was happening while I was streaming. My apologies for missing this, but this is great. What is this? That's just a GIF. Is there no video explaining this, or I don't? What is this? Are they taking down the flag, you guys? Oh no, they're putting the flag up. We need this video, but in reverse. Excuse me. Wow. Also, I don't know if you guys saw this in the news either, but one more thing I wanted to cover was what was it? The India story. I will be talking about one more story and then wrapping it up because the chat is winding down. I know it's getting late. Where is the India story? Leo, calm down. Did I share it? Oh, did I not share it? Taking back. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to cover. India takes back 18,000 citizens from U.S. to placate Trump. Whoa, that's quite the title for that article. Really not biased at all. And it says citizens. These are illegal immigrants. Why did Bloomberg title it like that? Citizens? Okay, anyway, this is what I wanted to cover. One more story, you guys. But India is planning to take back 18,000 illegal immigrants, by the way, not citizens. I don't know why the Bloomberg titled it like that, from the U.S. The Indian government is working with the new U.S. administration under President Trump to bring back 18,000 undocumented Indian immigrants from the country after the leader launched sweeping orders to deport illegal migrants. Leo, that's my spring roll. No. According to a report by Bloomberg, the U.S. and the Indian governments have identified about 18,000 Indian citizens living illegally in the country to be sent back home. This is big, you guys, and this is really going to help the job displacement situation. Amazing. Like it's W after W after W that we are experiencing here. It's great. Also, I did want to point out, look at this title from Bloomberg. Look how shifty the title is. I think it's referring to, oh, I can't read it here. I think this title right here is referring to Indian citizens from East India, but they title it in a way that makes you think like they are already U.S. citizens. At least that's how I read it. Very strange titling there. India is set to take back 18,000 citizens from the U.S. to placate Trump. But this is wonderful developments, and again, it's going to help American nationals bigly, is all I'm going to say. This is great news, everyone. Like I said, W after W after W. Steelbringer says Bloomberg sucks. Agreed, Steelbringer. Never read them. That was the first thing that came up. Steelbringer, man, I love Indian food, but bye-bye to illegals and bad faith immigrants. You know what, Steelbringer? We have the recipes. We can make the recipes. Listen, Steelbringer, I love curry just as much as you do, okay? But I gotta say that we may have the recipes, we can do it ourselves. Okay, I'm gonna eat one more spring roll for you guys. $20 is $20. Okay. Wow. That's good. I hope my eating mannerisms aren't too messy for you guys. But $20 is $20. And you guys wanted me to eat, and I'm eating. I see that the stream is winding down in viewership and engagement, so that's my call. I'm going to wrap it up here, but I did want to thank everyone that decided to join in on Culturama post-inauguration stream. I will end with this note. Like I said, W after W after W after W, this is a time to celebrate. I have been seeing a lot of naysayers say, people like Nick Fuentes, unfortunately bringing him up, but he is one of a very large figure that does this, and that they question the legitimacy of the Trump administration and the effectiveness of it moving forward, you know, saying that he's a sellout and he's not going to be ultimately as effective as he's promising. And you know what? We can have that conversation if we get there, of course. But right now is a time, Steelbringer, yes, I agree with you. But right now is not the time to count any L's or doom spiral. Trump has come in very strong. He has signed many executive orders fulfilling the promises that he has made. He is sending a message that this time around he is serious. And I'm looking forward to that, and I think you should as well. And this is all thanks to all the activism and the work that all of us have done, whether that was engaging online, being part of the zeitgeist and discourse, which does make a difference, albeit small, but it makes a difference. Or if you are out in the field actually putting in the footwork, doorbelling, you know, having direct activism with your local party or any other organization or movement, that works. Obviously that works too. But I feel like conservatives and average Americans we're done. We're done with the corruption and the false narrative of this artificial meritocracy that was brought upon by or forwarded by programs like DEI programs that frankly is not meritocratic at all, and by imposing this illegitimate system actually kills our ability to flourish. And seeing the failures of these programs and seeing the failures of these institutional ailments, I think is also what is shifting the Overton window. The leftists and the progressives and those in charge and the postmodernists are falling on their own sword. And it's really good to see. And so that's what the note I want to end on today, everyone. This has been a wonderful show. Yes, Steelbringer, fake credentialism is a part of it too. I want to thank everyone that's come on. And I will end on this note. Hold on a second. Let me turn down the volume so the outro can be nice. So I want to thank everyone for joining Culturama today and being a part of the zeitgeist. Let's go forward with strong and steady hearts, hoping in the future of America. And I want to thank you guys for coming in. Thank you for everyone that has donated and bought my products. Go ahead and buy the coffee as well. But and thank you so much for just engaging in the chat. I really do appreciate that. Have a good rest of your evening, and let's take back the American zeitgeist here today. Thank you for joining Culturama. And Leo says goodbye as well. Have a good night, everyone.
Golden dreams that won't decay,
marching proudly through the day. In the eagle's shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud.